One of those things is my reaction to Destiny 2 Renegades. I have a video on the channel right now where I argue the game needs to die with dignity. It's only like a 5-minute video. Would love to know your thoughts on what I say there. There's also a brewing debate about Arc Raiders. Are you playing it right or wrong? Are people too friendly, too mean? Does it deserve Game of the Year? And Wolverine game from Insomniac, they seemingly doubled down on their release date for fall of 2026 in the wake of GTA 6 delayed again. Many people worried that a lot of games will vacate that time on the calendar. I argued that Wolverine would obviously try to sidestep it and launch earlier like they did with GOTY, October the 2nd. I could see an early October release for Wolverine. We can discuss that as well. I'm going to end the previous stream where we were hanging out and we were doing something that is called morning coffee. If you like to hang out early in the stream, early in the day, make sure and click that join button, and you can be a part of what we do every single day right when it starts. So my brief thoughts on Destiny 2 Renegades is that I think the continuation of the injection of pop culture into games like this is a dilution of the brand and the identity, and this just ends up looking a little bit, I think, just desperate. It's not a great way for the game to kind of ride off into the sunset. I know many times over the years people have said Destiny 2's dead, Destiny 2's dying, this game's going to kill Destiny. Many times we said that, listen, the only thing that could kill Destiny is Bungie. And I think they subsequently have. I think it's been sort of a slow death, but I think they had a good run. I think the game did one of the best jobs we've seen with live service longevity, lasting over a decade. But it's pretty much coming to an end, and I think they should die with dignity. I've made my own suggestions about what they need to do and how they need to get there. In the realm of Arc Raiders and Arc Raiders PvE versus Arc Raiders PvP, there's a lot of talk about how the game should be played. There's also a brewing conversation about whether or not Arc Raiders Game of the Year should happen. Is it deserving of that award? I could see it getting a nomination given how popular the game is and how much people are praising the AI systems, the tension, the social experiment. There's a lot of elements to the game that are certainly worthy of praise, but I don't think it necessarily deserves to win over Expedition 33 given the cultural moment that game had. Even though my favorite game this year was GOTY, I still think Expedition 33 is the clear winner for Game of the Year this year, and it was basically my favorite game up until the point that I played GOTY. But I just don't think that Arc Raiders is there strong enough to win. I think it has excellence in many of its categories. Its sound design, its cinematic quality, its creativity. It's got some of the best AI I've ever played against. I mean, I feel genuinely hunted when these things are looking for me. It's a little creepy, and I think that all deserves praise, maybe even some awards or some nominations. But Game of the Year is a tough category this year, so we'll see if Arc Raiders can manage to sneak in. And in case you missed it, yes, GTA 6 delayed again. It happened. It's now coming November of 2026, and people were worried, well, now that time of the year is going to get vacated, and Insomniac Games made sure the day of the announcement to double down and say, listen, this game is coming fall of 2026. Wolverine is coming. So we had a big debate about whether or not they would want Wolverine to be in close proximity to GTA 6, and I argued that you wouldn't want to be. You would want to sort of avoid it. Now, not necessarily like delay the game, avoid that time of the calendar, indefinitely or something like that. But I definitely think that, Ghost of GOTY landing October the 2nd was not an accident. I think they were probably trying to get away from GTA, knowing that November would be prime real estate this year, and GTA didn't make it. So now that it's next year in November, I think they're probably looking at the exact same thing. They're looking at an early October. So a lot to discuss, a lot going on. Let's talk to the audience now. Guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Make sure you're pressing the like button. We've already got people going crazy on the weekly gold. George Caldwell with the Member Plus renews and gets us to 15. And then Joker Quinn comes in and drops one. And then a 20 bomb comes in from Pathalon Phoenix, the oh so generous and always dropping member bombs. Pathalon Phoenix puts YouTube in the lead, and I now owe YouTube a member. Every 25, I gift one back. Thank you guys so much for being here. Something you can do as members is use that question command. There are no questions currently in the queue, so if you've got questions that you want to have part of our Q&A segment that we do about an hour into the show, Submit those questions right now. And Wired Rope, not holding back there for Twitch, drops a 5-bomb for them as well. We're now a 10-bomb away from the next milestone. We'll see if anybody wants to steal it. And we'll see what you guys want to do. Do you want Matt and I to continue our playthrough of The Quarry this week? Or do you want us to go back into Arc Raiders? We actually had a lot of fun in Arc Raiders. You guys really missed out. Thank you, Henry, for using your Prime sub over here on Purple. You guys got to manually do those Primes every single month. You also have to manually hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you guys are going through the ritual of hitting the like button. And 250 bits. Rope says easy money. Thank you for the bits as well. You guys get free bits when you're gifting right now on Purple. So, yeah, you want us to play more Arc Raiders? If you guys missed it, my wife and I playing Arc Raiders gameplay was awesome. I really meant to go back. I was too busy this weekend with a lot of festivities and events and stuff going on. We had a going away party and just, it was a very busy weekend. And then my birthday was yesterday, so it was like very, very busy. I wanted to go get the clip of where, like, my wife had my back. Like, she was drawn down on this guy, and she was worried, like, I'm going to have to put this guy down. And, I want to go back and get that clip of Madam having my back. PvPers wonder why everyone uses free loadouts, which they are now asking to be nerfed or changed. Yeah, the interesting thing about that discussion is that, asking for the free kits to be changed seems, again, motivated by people who are playing the game very one-dimensionally. And a 10-bomb comes in from Neo Reaper. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's very, very generous. Getting us to the first 50 of the week. I already owe YouTube 2 members at this point. You guys are going crazy. Yeah, Madam found 2 blueprints in one night. Yeah, she's a loot goddess, man. She always has been. When we play Borderlands, she always finds the best stuff, man. She's a true ride or die, dude. She was with me, man. She was ready to throw down if we were going to fight. You couldn't stay awake. It was a fun night. I know it's a little bit late depending on time zone, though. I kill everyone, but no one has crap. I tried to talk about that, when Wooly and I were playing. Wooly pointed that out. That in solos especially, by the time you get to the end and you got all your loot, it just doesn't feel worth it. Like, why would I fight somebody? The odds are you're going to get shots on me and hurt me. You're going to take some of my shield, maybe some of my health. And then what's going to happen is, then you're going to draw attention to us. So now I'm risking getting shot by Arc. I'm risking not having shields or health for at least a moment, if I have the ability to get my stuff back up. And I'm doing this for what? Some of the loot that you have that is probably basically the same loot that I have. The weight limit really makes you not want to do that. Like, if I could just grab all of your stuff and break it all down and stack it all, yeah, maybe it would be worth it. But it's like, I already have stuff. I'm just trying to get out. I got stuff for my, my workshop or my bench or, whatever the case may be. I don't carry anything because some a-hole keeps killing me. It's such a problem. You don't carry anything because somebody keeps killing me. I'm not sure I understand. You're saying it's a problem for you or for others? People would carry stuff if you weren't a dick. And you get stuff from killing people if you weren't a dick. Right, it's a self-perpetuating problem. It's like, well, you go in and you kill everybody, and you're fostering a PvP culture, which is fine. If that's the way you want to play the game, then play the game that way. But every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and if you're constantly going in and slaying out, and people are camping the extracts, and people are going in and being, rats, then I would expect people to go in and not bring much in with themselves, because why would they do that? Why would they want to come in and risk losing their precious stuff because you're playing the game like it's PvP with loot? I killed a dude, and he had not 1 but 2 lemons. I mean, now that's a big win there, Hilly. Getting the lemons, that's a big win. Eugene says, if the devs run the numbers and see free kits too dominant, they'll nerf the free kit. Here's the dilemma with the free kit. If you nerf the free kit, you're going to make it to where people won't play. People won't play because if you get impoverished and you don't have much stuff, you don't have much money, you don't have much resources, how are you supposed to go in and play? What do you want to turn into a mobile game where like, oh yeah, you can only use so many free kits, you're now on a timeout, or if you make the free kits any weaker, the free kits aren't even that strong. They're not. You have enough ammunition for maybe like 1 or 2 engagements with the bots, and then you're going to be low on ammo. So you've got to play very, very tactical and quiet. You've got to avoid entanglements and engagements. The free kit is not at all that strong. It isn't. People are just annoyed that the free kit is there because people are going in and they don't have any loot, and they don't like that. And it's like, it's an extraction shooter. You should expect people to go in and minimize their risk. Yo, Rob with 32 months. It's time for Destiny 3. D2 needs to be put down. Thank you very much. I have a video on my channel right now, Rob, called Destiny 2 Die with Dignity. I think it's time for them to just shoot straight with the audience and be like, you know what? The game's on its way out. Let's just end this. We'll get the next game funded by PlayStation, and we need to get to work on it. I think this continuance of like trying to rely on the game financially is an absolute setback for anything the studio wants to do that isn't Marathon or Destiny 2. Like that neither of those are promising futures for them. It's not about strength, it's about the game loop. Yeah, and you know what's going to happen is you're going to drive people from playing if they can't use free kits. Like, free kit versus a Hornet, good luck. This is what's driving me crazy about this discussion. People that are using free kits are likely going in and working on very basic quests, like do this thing at this place, fix this radio tower, look for syringes and bandages, like they're questing, and you're angry that they're going in without any loot, right? If you go into the harder environments, if you go into the environments where like your goal is to take out a wasp or a hornet or a whatever, when people are working on those quests, they're going to be going in with more firepower, more ammunition, more stuff because they need to. What I think is happening, if you want my sort of 30,000 feet observation, is that people are going into the early environment where people are taking less risk because they're doing very minimal quests that don't require them to do much. And they're angry that, oh, I'm killing all these people and they don't have anything. Well, yeah, you're going to the first area. You're going to the dam and you're killing people that are like looking for syringes for the quest. Like, of course they're going to go in with free kits. Free kits include Pharaoh. You can definitely take out a Hornet. Now, yeah, if you get lucky and get the Pharaoh, that actually is a free kit where you can take out the Arcs fairly well because the ammo economy is really good on the Pharaoh. It's so strong, you're not burning through your ammo. You go in and you get like the what's it called? The one that's like really high rate of... Any of the other ones, you're going to burn through your ammo so dadgum fast. It just doesn't matter. You're not going to be a threat to anybody, let alone the Arc. The only actual free kit that has any strength at all is the one where you get the Pharaoh, because you can actually take out the Arc. Generally speaking, if I go in and don't get the Pharaoh, I'm not shooting at anything because I'm going to run out of ammo. You're going to burn through your ammo on 1 or 2 Arcs. Sora with a $2 super chat. What are your predictions for State of Play? I have no idea. It's Japanese focus, so you know we could see like Phantom Blade Zero there. Maybe it's Asia focused as well, so maybe some China hero stuff. Don't know. We're gonna try to cover it if I can. 50 months from John says double. Boom, gets us to 54. Thank you so much, John. If he's gonna double dip, somebody needs to get ready to do a 20 bomb to 75. Twitch, it's your chance to shine. Rule number 1 of extraction games: don't get over attached to your pixels. I just had a great raid and donated blueprints to someone new, extracted together, and he was super happy. That's the way to do it. I mean, that's the way to do it. Listen. I said this morning in Morning Coffee. If you go in and you want to be friendly and foster a culture of what I call Operation Friendship, do it. If you want to go in and be a rat and betray people, do it. That's what makes this game special. You can both go into the game and play it the way that you want. The people that are trying to minimize the PvE, right? They don't want people being able to go in and play PvE or friendly. They're trying to minimize free kits or what have you, or they don't like that solos are so friendly. You have to understand, the reason this game feels so great is because of that social experiment. If you whittle this game down to everybody's just always shooting on sight, it's just PvP with loot, you're going to absolutely murder one of the central identity value points of this game, in that it is a social experiment. There is constant tension. If you like being friendly and you hate that there are rats in the game, listen, the rats add tension. The PvPers, the shoot on sight guys, they add tension. That's why teaming up feels so good when you pull it off, because it might not go that way. If you take that away from the game, it's just another game where you go in and basically everybody's shooting at each other. The only element that is added then is like a loot table and extraction. It's like so many other games at this point. The reason it's not like other games, the reason it has a new car smell, the reason it's having a healthy honeymoon period is because people can go in and play however they want and write their own narrative and write their own story and role play and play however they want. Nobody's playing the game right or wrong. The only thing that I don't think should be happening is spawn killing. If you've been in the game for 10 seconds and you come out of this door and some guy's waiting for you with a bomb or something, come on. Like that should be legislated to. There should be some way to keep that from happening. But if you want to guard and extract and be a rat and trick people and betray people, man, you do that to your heart's content. That's part of the game's identity. It's what makes me being friendly so intense. The tension of me being a friendly player evaporates if I can go into a neutered PvE-only environment. Like, that's not what I want. The only thing that should be PvE is like an introductory area or aspirational content like a raid. Johnny always comes in with his double-dipping 54 months on purple, boom, and gets us to 55. We are exactly 20 away from the next milestone of 75. I currently owe YouTube 2 members already. We've only been live for 15 minutes. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Each facet plays an integral role to the overall experience of the game. Take one away, and it isn't the same. PUBG looters tick me off when players hide behind doors in buildings. If you hate extract killers, then you got to do runs with keys. You know, you got to find keys, make keys, buy keys, whatever it is you can do, you know, to minimize the extract killers or be on guard. I got a DM from Brooklyn Breed, and him and his buddy were playing, and they saw a guy putting bombs all around an extract, and they knew what he was getting ready to do. So they killed him. And they said, "Why are you doing that?" And he's like, "I honestly don't like looting. He doesn't like looting. He just wants to go in and kill people at extract. That's all he wants to do." If that's what he wants to do, that's fine. He's an emergent property of the game. He is an element of the game that is real. Like, yep, there's people that are going to play that way. You got to figure out a way to deal with it. They changed the free kits. It'll just make players buy or hoard the anvil. I'm telling you, if you nerf the free kits or make the free kits less accessible, players will just quit because they're not going to... I'm telling you, you have to remember there are players that aren't good and you don't want them to leave because you want somebody to leave because the game's not for them. You don't want somebody to leave because they're so impoverished they feel like they can't play. If you have a couple of bad games when you first start out, you're very impoverished. And the free kit's like your only option. Like, also, I remember when I was criticizing some elements of this game, I was like, man, it'll really put you on your back foot if you have a couple of bad games. What did everybody say? Run the free kit, run the free kit, run the free kit. You can't go from saying that to being like, oh, the free kits are too strong. The free kit's the only on-ramp for some people to play because they get so impoverished or killed so much or run out of stuff. Like, that's going to happen. I had a guy, hang on, James Wolfgang with 42 months and Member Plus. Friendship intensifies, but dealing with the D-bags together makes the friendships meaningful. Thank you so much, James Wolfgang. Bumping the line to 56. I appreciate all the resubs, guys. Make sure you're also hitting the like button. Here's the thing. If you look at the people that I've interacted with, all right? I played with a guy the other day. I ran into him, and he literally said, man, I'm so bad I'm going to pull you down. I'm not very good at this game, okay? And he died. He died to Arc, and he didn't even know. I should have told him I had a defib, like, hey, if you go down, don't leave. I'll get you back up. I forgot to say that. That's the kind of player that you want to kind of stay in. You want him to get that on-ramp with the free kits. You want him to kind of get acclimated to the game and keep playing. You don't want him to just leave because he's like, yeah, well, you know, I'm not very good, and then they nerfed or limited the free kits. And then he leaves because he doesn't feel like he has an on-ramp to the game. You want people to leave because, or stop playing, because the game's not for them, not because they don't feel like that you take away their on-ramp. That's not a good way for people to quit the game. I've said the free kit with no cooldown is problematic from the beginning. It's contradictory to the loop of the game. I think it's conducive to everything I've said about the game since the beginning, that they are cognizant of the fact that they need more than hardcore sweaty players for this game to survive. Yeah, the state of play is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. Listen, the developers have made it crystal clear. They are very cognizant of the fact. Guys, there's only one question in the question queue, by the way. If you want to be a part of Q&A and you're a member or a sub on Purple, as long as it's gifted or you're paying for it, that counts. You can use the question command to submit questions, all right? Here's the deal. Excuse me. They have made it very clear since the beginning that this game is not just for the hardcore sweaties. It isn't. The way they're handling player wipes tells you that. They're not going to make you wipe. They're not going to. It's voluntary. It's opt-in. I said from the very beginning, that signals that these guys understand you cannot drive casual players away. Now, I'm not saying they're trying to make a game appeal to casuals. I don't know if you've played this game or seen any of the clips. It doesn't appeal to casuals, okay? It can be pretty punishing. You can die really fast, just from Arc. I mean, I saw a clip of Ninja get obliterated by the Arc, and he did an impressive job almost getting away. You know, he's playing what I would consider to be, he's playing at a pretty high level. Not the highest, but compared to the player base at large, he's probably playing at a pretty high level. He's fast, he's using adrenaline, he's trying to get away. He gets annihilated, right? So I don't think the game out of the box appeals to casual players. But there are people who will play casually. Now, I'm not contradicting myself. There are people, thank you for submitting questions. Both Alex and Wired Rope, both your questions got through. Thank you, boys. I'm not being contradictory. You can make your game appeal to casuals by making it too easy, too watered down, too diluted, you know, offering some casual mode or a PvE mode or something, okay? They may offer that in the future, but right now they're not. What they're doing is they're saying, if you come and you play this game casually, you can have a good time. It's not about, oh, if casual people want to come and play Arc Raiders. It's, no, you can play this game casually. I call myself casual dad gamer, but when I'm playing this game, I don't approach it with like a casual's mindset. I'm like, oh, you know, I wish it was PvE only or da-da-da-da. No, I'm playing it casually. Does that make sense? Like a casual player's mindset is going to want easy mode. They're going to want PvE only. You know what I mean? They're going to want those things to be toned down. Does that make sense? They're going to want those things to be toned down. Somebody could come in and play Arc Raiders and like everything that the game offers, but they just engage casually. They only play an hour or two a night, right? Okay, hang on. Neo Reaper, your question didn't get through. Oh, no, it did. It did. Neo Reaper and TJ Love, thank you, boys. Both your questions got through. Ignore the error. They both got through. Thank you, Dylan, for renewing your Member Plus over here on YouTube, bumping the line to 57. Welcome back. Let's pray they cancel Marathon and start Destiny 3. I don't think they're going to cancel. I'll delete your duplicate question, Neo. No worries. I can take care of it right now on the sheet. Okay? I got you. No problem. Your question's in there. I don't think they're going to cancel Marathon. I think if they were going to cancel Marathon, they would have canceled it already. But they're definitely going forward with Marathon. I also don't think canceling Marathon has anything to do with Destiny 3. If you guys are just tuning in, I released a video last night, yesterday evening, basically saying that Destiny needs to die with dignity. It needs to die with dignity. Like they're really pushing something that I think fundamentally just doesn't. The optics on the Star Wars thing, I think. The guns look so incredible, and yet, I just think they're such a bad look for the game as it's kind of sunsetting and going off into the, it's striding off into the sunset, and I just don't think it's very good optics personally. But hey, everybody's got their own opinions. That's just mine. Destiny's Renegade expansion smells of desperation, says Resident Recon. They know their player count is lower than Curse of Osiris levels, so they want to push nostalgia to rectify that. Yeah, I don't think it just isn't a good look. I mean, most of the studios on Marathon, which is pulling away from D2. Where did you see that reported that most of the studios on Marathon? I've not seen that stated anywhere. Where did you see that? That would be very surprising that they would have like 800 some odd people on Marathon. It's easy to make money in Arc Raiders as well. I have so much stuff, all the stations, and I'm only level 10. I really, really liked playing with Madam. I thought it was fun. I really did. We had a really, really great time. Like, a surprisingly good time. Like, I did not expect it to go as well as it did. I thought for sure, the evening would end up kind of blowing up in our face. Like, okay, we'd have like 1 or 2 decent runs, and then it would just go sour after that. The only time we really died where I had a little bit of a complaint was, it was against the Arc. Like, she was hiding in a bush, and it had detected her, but it wasn't doing anything. So I shot at it to draw its attention away from her, and it instantly shot her after I shot it. And I was like all the way on the other side of the area. That was the only thing I was like, that's not how that's supposed to work. Other than that, we had a great evening. Use the recycle sheet. I was filled in my inventory to realize like 30% could be recycled. Yeah, I need to refer to that rope. I do, because my inventory is stacked. It's just stuffed at this point. What's the Arc Raider solo experience like? It varies. I feel like it's been very friendly. I feel like solos, especially in the first map, in the first area, the dam, I feel like people are very, very likely to work together and be friendly. Now, you go squad up or you go into the harder areas, you might run into people who are more prone to fight. But again, if you're solo, people have a tendency of not wanting to fight because it isn't worth it. If you've been looting for 10 minutes, fighting me doesn't really serve your aims. Even if you're better than me, I'm going to land shots on you. I'm going to hurt your shield, potentially hurt your health, make you vulnerable for a certain amount of time. Now the Arc might be drawn to us, and it's like, for what? If you've got the loot you were looking for and you're pretty stuffed on loot, you're probably just trying to get out. Fighting me doesn't serve much of a point. The odds of me having better loot than you is pretty low with the way the loot table works. I'm probably going to have a lot of the same stuff you have. Yo, the OA with 25 months as a member plus on YouTube. I love to camp at extraction points with high ground, but to help raiders escape. If I can, I always aggro leapers and rocketeers away from them. That's what I'm talking about. That's somebody going in and playing the game their way. Like, you're writing your own story. You're creating your own drama. And I really do think people need to catch that vision. The guys that are saying, it's solos are too friendly, there's not enough people PvPing, free kits are too strong. What you're trying to do is you're trying to remove an element from the game that you don't like that actually is a part of the social experiment. It's just like the people who are like, give me PvE only. And I'm like, you don't want PvE only. That will neuter the game's sauce. The only PvE only environment should be like an introductory environment for new players if they need to kind of retreat to it to get their footing again. And then like an aspirational piece of content like a raid where you'd go in with like 10 people and PvP would be disabled. Outside of that, I think the core gameplay loop should remain as it is, a blend of both. Doing the Lord's work, that's what I'm saying. You're better finding dead than shooting another player. Yeah, finding dead players, yes. Solos is usually very friendly. You get random PvP fights. Yeah, and it's what's weird is if you say you're friendly, a lot of the times I've had 2 guys shoot me and they stopped shooting me once I said I was friendly. It was really interesting. It's like they feel bad. I'm like, yo, I'm friendly. I'm not trying to fight back. It's almost like there's no sport in it for them. They're like, well, if you're not going to shoot back, this isn't fun. And I get that a PvP-minded player might feel like that's boring or like there's no threat or whatever. But I think the average player, there's no sport in it if you're saying, hey, I'm friendly, I'm not going to shoot back. Yeah, your mic can literally be the difference between life or death in this game. I owe you guys 2 members. I'm going to go ahead and do one right now, see if we can't stoke the fires here. Also, make sure you guys are hitting the like button as you come in for the day. We're 30 minutes into the broadcast. This is something we do Monday through Friday. If you've never been here before, hit subscribe. I do a Safe for Work podcast like this about gaming Monday through Friday. If you're watching on Purple, same deal. Hit that follow button so that way I'll be on your notifications and your pages whenever I go live. We did not get to do our stream on Friday night on Purple with me and Madam playing Arc Raiders. Their ingest servers were just, I don't know what was going on. It was a huge down night for them. So we just streamed on YouTube on Friday night. It's amazing when it feels like you are in a real sci-fi show. When you talk on the mic, they stop sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes they won't. From my experience in solos, people that talk ahead of time are friendly. If they don't talk, be prepared to fight. Just say I'm chill and I have a free kit. Yeah, if you tell people you're on a free kit, I mean, I don't know though, Wired Rope. Nowadays, with the animosity toward the free kit, people might decide that they're gonna kill you for running the free kit. Like, they're going to kill you out of spite. They're going to be like, yeah, you're running a free kick. Boom, get the heck out of here. Like, they'll just send you back to the lobby out of spite for running the free kit. Which, you know, I've not been compelled that the free kit's too strong. I haven't. I've not seen a good argument about it. Yo, Supremacy with 12 months of members. Surprise day to play Japan, 40-minute runtime on the 11th, but you probably already knew this. Yes, we'll be probably covering that tomorrow. I don't see a reason not to. And if you guys are members on YouTube and you want to count towards the goal each week and each month that you renew, you got to be on Member Plus or VIP. The standard membership tier, I can't count it because if it's a gifted, I'd be counting it twice. Hit the like button. Yeah, if you can't do a membership, I didn't set the super chat goal. I'll do that now. Some of you guys prefer super chats over gifting. I will gift a member. I do the same thing. I pay it forward. Every 5 super chats, I gift a member to the community as a way to pay it forward. Sony financials are releasing tomorrow. Yes, it's not going to include October though. We're going to have to wait until their next reporting for the Yote results. I'm sure there'll be conspiracy theories about that, but that's standard practice. It's not going to include October. The reporting for tomorrow, I believe, runs up until September. It's not about strength. It's about always being able to run without any risk. You want no risk. You should be entering naked. Yeah, but again, you're just going to drive people away from playing. You're more concerned with maintaining what you feel like are the confines of the genre as opposed to having a player funnel. And I think those two are at loggerheads. If you want this game to stay true to the genre that you feel it should, like you think this is how the genre is defined, I don't think that it is. I think there's an escalation of investment that leads to greater risk and leads to players playing differently, and I think that's a more natural and organic way to play. You're worried about like low-level players that are primarily concerned with questing, when if you're going into the more high-risk areas and the more challenging environments, I highly doubt people are running free kits. I'm here to tell you, the people bellyaching about free kits, I'm here to tell you, 9 times out of 10, they're probably farming players on the first map. That's what they're doing. They're not going into the more challenging environments. They're not going into the new maps. They're not going into the night raids. They're not doing any of that. They're going into the first map to farm new players, and they're pissed because most new players are figuring out, I'm just going to run a free kit. I don't want to deal with it. It's not worth it. I'm just trying to go turn a radio tower on. I'm just trying to go look at this building for this quest that this person sent me on. I'm just trying to find syringes in a hospital building. You're trying to farm players on the first map, probably because you're too soft for real PvP. That's what a lot of these guys typically do. You know, I've interacted with people like this for the last 10 years. They go into environments where they won't be challenged, so they can farm players that aren't at their level, or, you know, aren't playing their way, and they're mad because they're going into the irony too of like arguing risk as you go to farm like new players on the first map. I mean, you want to talk about risk? Like, there's no risk in that. You know what I'm saying? Stack yourself up, take your best loot in, and go into the higher level environments. Go into the more challenging environments. Go where you know other players are going to be stacked to the rafters, and then talk to me about risk. You want to stack yourself up like the Terminator and go to the damn map so you can kill new players, and you're mad they're running free kits. Like, the irony of bringing up risk when you're going into the most non-risk environment to get easy kills. Like, get the frick out of here. Like, dollars to donuts, I'd put money on the table that's where these encounters are happening. They're happening on the first map because they want to go farm new players. I'm not projecting that onto you, Eugene. There are plenty of people that don't like the fact that that's how the free kit works. I'm here to tell you, ain't no way a stacked player is going into environments where there's other stacked players and are like, oh, I keep running into free kits. There's probably a heat map of activity. Like if you look at the number of free kits being used, there's probably a greater propensity of them being used on that first map. Because that's what I do. If I'm playing with Madam, if I'm working on a quest, I'm going to go to the first map and I'm going to run a free kit. Why? I'm not going to take my precious loot in because I'm going in to get syringes. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going in to fight a queen. I'm not going in to fight a hornet or other arc units. I'm going in to look for something. I'm going in to go look at a building. Like, there are quests that literally tell you to go in to literally not really engage in combat. So I'm going to go in with a free kit. I had a level 3 kettle and an anvil, and I was questing and spamming don't shoot and was killed at extraction. Well, free kit the rest of the night after that. That's right. Why am I going to do that? It's pointless. It ain't going to make it any difference. Listen, it's not going to make a big difference. If you're trying to go in and you're trying to get syringes or you're trying to get lemons, you don't need to take in a stacked kit. You're going to go in low risk. Now, if you want to go in and fight the queen, if you want to go in and engage other players, well then sure, yeah, you're going to throw on your better stuff because you know you're going to run out of ammo unless you get lucky and get the free kit with the Pharaoh. Most of the other kits, you're going to burn through your ammo so dadgum fast because the weapons themselves are not particularly, a lot of them, they're not super strong against the arc, so you're going to burn through your ammo. It's a great leveler. If you hang outside spawns, what are folk expecting? Right, and that's why I've always said, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction in a game like this. Like, that's not original to me, but in these games, that is certainly something I always try to say. If you've got people camping extraction points, camping spawn points, saying they're friendly and then betraying you, that is going to result in players running free kit. Like, the irony of wanting to go in and frag out all day, every day, like you're all about the PvP, and then you're upset that the player base's response is to come in with less risk. Like, did you ever think about maybe the fact that, a lot of these streamers, you're streaming to hundreds of thousands of people a week, and you're saying, well, yeah, let's go in and betray people. Let's go in and shoot people. Let's go in and be all about that PvP. Let's go in and be all about that rat life. Look, it's entertaining. I get it. Go do it. Do you. But don't be surprised when the player base reacts in a way that might not be conducive to what you wanted them to do. Like, well, now nobody's coming in and risk because we were in here farming them. I'm glad Lono didn't try to claim the third law of motion as his own. Yeah, that's not original to me, y'all. I hope you guys don't think that. But again, and that's why I tell the guys that just want PvE. It's like, I don't think you understand. Like, you want the game to be robbed of what makes it special. Like, I think you'd get bored very quickly if you were just going in and only having to deal with the arc. Those streamers don't care because they'll be on another game in a few weeks. This is true. They'll squeeze the game out like a rag for clips, for virality, for montages, and then in a couple of weeks they're going to be back on something else. Generally speaking, that is true. Not all, but a lot will. Is that over 200 hours in Yote? Good Lord. I mean, I enjoyed the game, but I don't know if I could get 200 hours out of it. I've always said E equals MC squared, Lono on a Monday. Yeah, that's right. You guys know what I've always said. You guys always know what I said. Entropy times squared. They just start spouting nonsense about scientific stuff. And a 20 bomb comes in from Flyers over here on Twitch. And he secures the 75 milestone. I owe Purple a member. The 75 milestone's been stolen. Good to see you, Flyers. There it is. Braden was wanting to play some Arc Raiders. I was like, hey man, maybe during a stream sometime, like Madam and I'll be playing. We'll bring you along. That would be really fun. And Wired Rope with a 7-stream streak, man. Watching 7 days in a row. Thank you so much, Wired Rope. I appreciate it very, very much. How would you feel about them removing just the Pharaoh from the free kit? It seems like that's the only good gun. Here's the issue with that. Okay. That, I think that creates you feeling like you kind of won the free kit lottery, and you wouldn't want to take that away. And a 10 bomb comes in from Pathalon Phoenix, and he says, listen, Twitch, you don't want the smoke, okay? We're going to maintain the lead. It's now 52-36, YouTube over Twitch. A level 1 Pharaoh isn't that good. That's what I mean. Like, if you feel like you've won the free kit lottery and that's all you get is like a level 1 Pharaoh, I think that's probably okay. You know what I mean? Alex gifts another member, and he also gifts 20 on top of that and gets us to 89. And then a 20 bomb comes in for 109, and another one comes in for 110. Oh, it's 58-52. Alex answering back. Man, oh man. No, that wasn't Alex. That was, what was that? That was another 20 bomb from Flyers. I misread. Sorry. Flyers and Fizzband. They both start with F. I messed that up. So Alex did 2 singles, and Flyers did the other 20 bomb. That's a second 20 bomb. Upper Echelon did a good game review on Arc Raiders and how the trilogy all leans into each other. I was like, what? Yeah, sorry. Alex did 2 singles, and Flyers did another 20 bombs. So that's 2 20 bombs today from Flyers. Thank you, Flyers. So generous. Mac Attack comes in with a single renewal over here. 24 months. Thank you, Mac Attack. I just saw the F from Flyers and Fizzband, and I was like, oh, what is happening? You're going on a bit of a run on your own. You've always been so generous, Flyers, man. I greatly appreciate it. It's very, very kind. A nice start to the week, boys. 500 unlocks Friday night, and you guys are already ahead of pace. Thank you. You can even sell the free kit and reset for another kit. Oh, you thought you clicked the wrong button. The last 3 streams showed up on my homepage. Things are looking up. Thank you so much. If I'm showing up on your homepage again on YouTube, do me a favor. Make sure you're in the Discord, okay? And make sure you also always check your subscriber feed. I could disappear from your homepage again. I could. It's not reliable. What's reliable is checking your sub feed and being in the Discord. YouTube is not reliable with notifications and putting me on your homepage. If your viewership behavior changes for a week, I'll disappear again. So always remember to do that. You got both noties today? Well, that's good. It seems that YouTube has at least rectified some of the stuff that was making... We had people coming in saying they couldn't find the streams, and hopefully that has been fixed. A great way to avoid that happening, though, is, as I've said, check your sub page and be in the Discord, okay? That way that won't happen. And then Team Ambush comes in with 29 months. Thank you so much. Pathalon, what are you sighing about? It's 54-58. What? Pathalon needs a tag team partner, y'all. A free kick can only take you so far. Pathalon with the 50 bomb. After he sighs, he's like, all right, I'll do it myself. And he extends YouTube's lead. Is 104-58. I never got noties and I couldn't find you. Is that been fixed now? Devil Inside, has that been rectified? Guys, I want to see some farty bombs spammed in chat. My son calls 50 bombs farty bombs. And Wired Rope answers back with a 5 bomb on Twitch. And a 20 bomb comes in from Silent Spartan on YouTube. Twitch, you got your work cut out for you today. It's 124-63. Good golly. This is for your birthday? Oh, I didn't get to do a birthday stream. So if you guys are making this like my birthday stream, that is very kind. I didn't want to keep belaboring that point. That, like, you know, we were going to do like a birthday celebration over the weekend or whatever. We ended up not doing it. We didn't hit stretch. But if you guys want to make today like a birthday thing, that is very kind of you. I was like, all right, birthday's come and gone. Let's get back to work. YouTube now appears on my home, but not in the subscription. It's just not consistent. The Discord's super, super consistent. So, and a 50 bomb comes in from Silent Spartan on YouTube. I don't know, dude. It's over. It's over. Unless Pork Pie comes in to tag team on Twitch, it is over. It's 174-63. Alex gifts another one on purple, and then a single comes in from Stonespire to get us to 239. Stonespire's trying to set up a 10-bomb dunker. Happy belated birthday. That's very kind. Thank you, boys. I'm 44, and you guys were awesome last week. You're being awesome again. And a single comes in from Stonespire, 240. We're now 10 away from the next milestone. He thought he wasn't going to work yesterday. What do you mean? I came down in here and made a video, and you're like, hey, I know it's your birthday, but where's my video? I'm like, I had to do a second take. I wasn't happy with the first take. Damien says, bye, Twitch. Saluting. Guys on YouTube, do me a favor, though. You have more members than likes. That's incredible. 176 members on the day, 163 likes. Let's try to get to 200 likes really, really quickly. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button yet on YouTube, do me a favor. James MC gifts a member on YouTube, and then I got a renewal on purple from Devil Inside. 9 months. I switched from YouTube to Twitch. Happy B-Day. Happy B-Day to me. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Oh my gosh. Flyers is going to try to make it interesting. A 50 bomb from Flyers on Twitch to 292. It's 115, 177. I'm telling you, I wish you guys could bat signal Pork Pie because he would come in and devastate YouTube. Him and Flyers are going to make it really interesting for y'all. I'm here to tell you. Thank you, boys, so much. Just a heads up, since we are in November, little housekeeping while I have all of your attention and we're getting all these memberships. Rare Killer with 50 months says, happy belated birthday. Thank you so much. Listen, week of Thanksgiving. Okay? Week of Thanksgiving. We will be out of town. And a 10 bomb comes in from Neo Reaper. Thank you so much. Another milestone secured for YouTube. Thank you so much. That's very, very kind. Hang on a second. Prove your humanity. What the heck? No, I'm not in that, dude. That guy's spamming. You're spamming links. Get the frick out. You created your account a month ago. He's like, you're in it. It's like a link to like a fight or something. On Reddit. It's just Monday. It's Monday, boys. We need 25 more likes. We need 24 more likes. 25 more likes. 24 more likes. I can't talk on YouTube. So yeah, just a reminder, just a little bit of housekeeping, since I have everybody's attention from all the gifted members. For the next 2 weeks, the schedule is totally normal. Week of Thanksgiving, I will be out of town. So going crazy the next 2 weeks is very much appreciated in my line of work. It never is fun as a live streamer to take a whole week off, but I've been doing that for the last, I don't even know, I've always gone home to Ohio. I think there was like 2 years we didn't go, and one of them was like 2020, and we all know what happened that year. Yo, Feet Chicken with 36 months says, happy belated birthday. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it very much, boys. And I'll let you guys vote whether or not you want Madam and I to play Arc Raiders on Friday night or more of the Quarry. Maybe we give you guys a double header if you guys hit stretch goal. Maybe we'll do a Quarry one night and Arc Raiders the other. We could always do a community game night too in the Discord with Arc Raiders and not even feel the need to stream. That would be fun as well. 44 years old. He has to do second takes. He's not so good on the first. No, the first take was fine. I didn't make mistakes. I just wasn't happy with the video. Oh, as a reminder, if you're like, look, I don't do memberships or super chats. If you're a coffee drinker, our coffee's huge sale right now. The medium roast and the light roast are $10.95 a bag. That's cheaper coffee than you're probably going to get at the grocery store right now with everything that's been going on. We're trying to work our way through that inventory. We're going to strip everything down to just the dark roast. Help us work through that inventory if you're a coffee drinker. You can go to reforgeroast.com or use the link below in chat or use the coffee command. $10.95 for a 12-ounce bag of coffee is a great deal right now. And the medium and the light roast are fantastic. I drink the medium every day. Have you played Peak? Could be a good co-op game with Madam. That would be a pretty fun game, but I don't think it's local, and I don't have a setup for 2 computers to stream like that. That'd be a headache. I can set up 2 PlayStations. So if they ever put that game on PlayStation, we could definitely do it. Anyways, you should go home to family depending on how surgery goes. I should be doing Christmas. Nice. Hopefully it goes well for you. Once you sell through your inventory, is that it for Reforge Roast? No, I feel like I made that. I feel like I spoke pretty clearly there. We're going to strip everything down to just the dark roast. We're working through the inventory of the medium and the light. That's about as clear as I can make it. I don't want anybody to misunderstand. Don't put that energy out there. It's such a frustration as a streamer. Is you'll be like, guys, we're buying the red car. And they're like, why are you buying a yellow car? It's like, no, what the, how does that happen? Like, we're working through the medium and the light roast. We're going to strip everything down to just the dark roast. It's just become, I think, too broad of an endeavor and too expensive to have multiple flavors. It's a 2-man operation. It's me and Creature. And so dark roast has always been our most popular. So it might have stuttered or stammered, but yeah, we're not getting rid of the coffee. That's what we're doing. And you guys can benefit from that sale because, I know coffee's expensive in a lot of places right now. And honestly, the dark roast is not a super dark roast. Take advantage of the sale right now and do like the triple threat. Get the light, the medium, and the dark. The dark's not super dark. It isn't. Like, if you're like, I'm more of a light medium roast guy, I guarantee you'll like the dark roast. It's not like a Komodo dragon or something. It's not going to, like, knock your socks off. So, all right. We got to get back to the conversation about Arc Raiders, Destiny 2 Renegades. There's also the Wolverine release date. They kind of doubled down saying, hey, we're still coming, fall of 2026 in light of GTA 6 getting delayed. So, okay, let me take a look here. We're almost an hour in, and we have 2, 4, 6, 8. We have 8 questions so far submitted. So if you guys want to submit questions as members or subs, be sure to do that in the next 10 minutes or so. We're going to be going through the questions that you have submitted. Back end of YouTube's looking a little bit better. Hopefully they're starting to make it a little bit easier to find these live streams. So thank you so much, everybody who is here today. And if you haven't hit the like button, do that. We're about an hour in. Let's get 200 likes before the 1 hour mark hits. Anthem dead January 12, 2026. Yeah, they're officially going to be shutting it all down. Yep. So if you're here right now and you've been lurking, feel free to chime in. Feel free to submit a question. You can always submit the question and go right back to lurking. You don't have to be like an active chatter to participate in what we do here. That's one of the beauties of that question command is you can submit your question and then it sits in the queue and it'll eventually get answered. I thought Destiny 2 was going through a hard time. I have a video on the channel right now called Destiny 2 Die With Dignity, and I basically argue that the Destiny 2 Renegades thing, to me, it very much feels like, it just feels desperate. I've never been a big fan of games injecting themselves with pop culture. I think we've seen it go, it's gone off the rails, understandably, most notably and provably in Call of Duty, with Beavis and Butthead and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I just think that the way that they've handled it, in Destiny, it's not that it's a problem. I would just say, let's not do this anymore. What I argued in my video is Destiny 1 ended with like the Age of Triumph. It was like the greatest hits of Destiny. So you're celebrating the game. You're celebrating Destiny, the game. Destiny 2 is, I think it's in its death throes. I think you've got maybe 1 or 2 years left before they can't do anything with it. It won't be justifiable. You're just going to continually lose players. You get to a certain threshold of players where you can't justify bandwidth and money and production costs that are associated with the game. Okay. So, given that reality, I think personally that they should level with the community and say, hey, in 12 months, we are going to cease creating any new content for Destiny 2. We're just going to be done. We will support it. Servers will stay up. We'll do patches, quality of life if it's needed, if bugs arise and things like that. But we're going to stop making new content for Destiny 2, and we're going to get to work on Destiny 3. Now, I know people are always going to say, why? Why would you make them work on Destiny 3? They don't want to make Destiny 3. We don't know how much of that was the leadership. It was clear the leadership wanted to move on from Destiny. Like, if you look at what, like, Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith were working on, they were not working on Destiny 3. They were working on some other project, and when that project got canceled, they left. Okay? Other leadership has made it clear they're not interested in doing anything. They're not interacting with their teams. They're waiting for their payout, okay? Bunch of bums, waiting for millions of dollars to hit, and they don't care about going out with pride, okay? Not surprising. From everything we've heard about the leadership of that company, it's not surprising that that's their reaction to the deal with Sony. So, how much of the leadership was like, we don't want to do Destiny again, and how much of the staff was like, actually, we would like to continue to do Destiny. It's what we know. It's what we're good at. It's what we're familiar with. It's probably a bit of both. I'm sure there are non-leadership people that are like, I don't want to do Destiny anymore. We've done it for 10 years or more, okay? So you certainly would have people that don't want to work on it, which is why I've always said, if you can get PlayStation to publish it and basically come in and take over, gut the leadership, you could certainly then say, hey, if you don't want to work on Destiny 3, we're going to try to find you a place at one of our other studios. And then you go to all your other PlayStation studios and say, does anybody want to work on Destiny 3? And that would be how you would handle it. You would basically try to set it up with the best situation possible. Right now, Bungie's in a terrible spot because who's going to want to go work at Bungie? Like, does anybody want to go work there right now? At least they're not stealing art anymore. Well, the recent update on the Red War lawsuit, that seems like maybe maybe they never really stopped. Maybe they never really stopped. Certainly seems that way. In any case, I think that would be the only path forward for them. I think Marathon's a non-starter. I don't think Marathon's going anywhere. I think Marathon's just absolutely dead in the water. And, that even if Marathon's like moderately successful, like let's say moderately successful for like, I don't know, for a year, Marathon, its existence is justified with player engagement. I don't think that it will. I think it's a dead man walking. But let's just say that I'm wrong and Marathon somehow figures it out. Marathon is not going to generate enough revenue to keep Bungie going. There's just no way. It will not hit the heights of like revenue and profit that Destiny once enjoyed. It just isn't going to. You still have Fair Games. I think Fair Games is just going to quietly get canceled. That's what I think. I think beginning of next year, typically PlayStation does their layoffs and their restructural stuff in the first quarter of a year as they're getting ready to enter a new fiscal period. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see Fair Games canceled and that studio shut down beginning of next year. I'm not trying to be crass or cold about it. I just wouldn't be surprised if that's what ends up happening. I think Fair Games and the studio working on Fair Games, I think they're on borrowed time. I don't think it has a prayer. I think the live service push makes sense, but there are games that don't. Do you understand? Like, the live service push makes sense. There's a lot of money to be made in live service. There are certain games that don't make sense. Like Helldivers 2 has made them a ton of money. Marvel Tokyo Fighting Souls will likely make them a ton of money. MLB The Show makes them a ton of money every year. Gran Turismo 7 has made them a ton of money. The live service push makes sense. There's money to be made. There are games that don't make sense. Concord didn't make any sense. Fair Games doesn't make any sense. Marathon doesn't make any sense. These games are non-starter. They're non-starters. They're tepid, lukewarm nothing. Concord was garbage from moment one. Even if the characters, you could have made those characters half naked, it wouldn't have mattered. It didn't matter how ugly they are, and it didn't matter how many pronouns were in the game. That game was going nowhere. Fair Games was originally pitched as a competitive heist game. What the frick are you doing? Who in the world thought that was a good idea? Marathon tries to capitalize on people who are sort of looking at the stars and trying to make predictions about the future. And people are like, yeah, dude, extraction shooter's the next hot thing. Okay. Extraction shooters are going to continue to struggle to have a long-standing player base. I know Arc Raiders looks amazing right now. In 6 months, reality's going to settle in. They're going to settle into their core player base in about 6 months, and they're going to have to figure out, okay, what do we do to keep this game going? I think Arc Raiders has a ton of potential because it can lean heavily on PvE elements, which many other extraction shooters can't do. Like, Marathon doesn't have PvE elements to lean on. It's basically Apex with extraction, as far as I could tell from, like, the streams and stuff. So, like Arc Raiders can lean on PvE significantly, and that can keep them going for a very long time. Marathon doesn't have any of that at all. Marathon was an alpha. It was Apex with extraction. It was not. There was nothing new, special, or innovative about it. Sony's earnings call is later today, tomorrow in Japan. We should hear something. Oh, about Marathon and Fair Games? Very likely. Marathon was a dartboard in a dark room. Hey, that's one of my sayings. Nice. I disagree about Marathon. It will be good on console. As for some reason, Bungie is a console darling. No. Do you want to know? I'm going to tell you, Neo, I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. We don't see eye to eye on this. I'm going to tell you why. Okay? Concord was so much Bungie DNA, so much Destiny DNA, and it crashed and it burned because who cared? It was just a 5v5 hero shooter without ultimates, by the way. Marathon as an extraction shooter, there's just nothing there. There's nothing to it. Listen. This is something I think people keep missing the forest for the trees here. Marathon can make a ton of great changes and quality of life and listen to the community. It doesn't matter. There's nothing to it. There's nothing there. There's no substance. Arc Raiders has substance. You get into it and you almost immediately see, you're like, oh yeah, this game could go the distance. They could do raids. They could do dungeons. They could add, arc units. They could add new threats. They could do PvE content to the cows come home, and they're going to get similar results that Helldivers got when they did big content injections into their game. Their game's only PvE. But in a very similar fashion, I think Arc Raiders can ride that train. Marathon has nothing. They have built nothing. There's nothing to it. There is not enough time for them to add enough substance. There would have to be entire elements to the game, adjacent to similar, kind of like what Arc Raiders has. You're going to have significant PvE elements that could be iterated on in the future. And here's the other problem. Bungie doesn't do anything quickly. They don't do anything quickly. They're not going to be able to make updates, add mechanics, units, content. None of that will be done quickly. They don't do anything quickly. They've got a game that's been going for 10 years, and they still don't do anything quickly in that game. Dark Taco says, Concord didn't feel better than Destiny 2 to play. Marathon genuinely feels like the best FPS I've ever played. Not breaking NDA, FBI agent swearing. Right. I don't think that'll be enough. I don't think it'll be enough. The gunplay feeling good won't be enough. Like, Concord felt like a good great gunplay. But there was, I don't know. I'm not breaking my NDA, but I'm just saying. I don't know. Did you say anything? Are you winking, nudging? Are you agreeing with me? Blink twice if you agree with me. Game feels incredible. A game can feel incredible. Splitgate feels incredible. It didn't take much to kill that game. All it took was a cringy presentation and a ball cap. I mean, I feel bad for that studio. I feel bad for anybody who worked on Splitgate 2. Like, who would have thought, Who would have thought? Guys, we're working really hard. We got great ideas. We got some potential. Now's a great time to strike while the iron's hot. And you had a cringy presentation and a ball cap. Just torpedoed the whole dadgum thing. I mean, come on. You want to talk about hubris? That was some hubris. His dev caused a downfall. He made. All right, let's think about something, Prosy. Blink once, there's something there. Yeah. All I'm going to say is this, Ghost. I had people arguing rather passionately the same thing about Concord. I think every game gets fans. Every game has people that are like, nope, there's something here. This is solid. And I'm like, no way. We'll be good on console. PC's the home of extraction shooters. You're dead without the PC community playing an extraction shooter. You really want an extraction shooter, just do well on consoles. Paul is raising a very, very good observation here. All right. You console boys, and I'm a console boy. All right. Little humility here. Okay. Arc Raiders copies sold per platform. Now this is just this is from a company that can get it wrong, but this is their current prediction based off of market trends and player behavior and reviews and everything else. Okay, now these Alenia Analytics estimates, they've gotten things wrong before, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is pretty close to accurate. That the vast majority of people playing Arc Raiders are on PC. They're never off. I thought for certain there was some stuff that they did before that ended up being pretty inaccurate. They're never far off. I thought there was something they did before where their prediction was bad. I thought somebody pointed that out once. Hey, you got to be careful with those guys. They've been wrong before. Eugene says, I told you this was a PC dominant game. I don't know why people thought it was taking off on console. Here's the thing. If that's the case, if that's the market trend for extraction shooters, I am here to tell you that Marathon's in trouble. Marathon's in trouble, boys. Because you're not appealing, okay? You're not appealing to the audience that you need to survive. I've looked at Marathon. I've seen the gameplay. I've seen the commentary. I've seen the reaction. I don't think the PC crowd gets behind that game whatsoever. I just don't think so. That's a prediction that I'm making. And I could be 100% incorrect. But I'm looking at that game thinking, nope, the PC boys are going to say no thank you to it. A guy on Reddit said as soon as he turned off crossplay and got rid of console players, the amount of griefing went down. Somebody should show you this picture. Arc Raiders is the 23rd most played game on Xbox right now. No way it sold that many copies. Well, I mean, it's just a percentage. Do you want to know why that guy turned off crossplay and he ran into less griefers? I can tell you why. You all know it. You can feel it. You know exactly why he turned off crossplay and he dealt with less griefers. Because the PC boys that want to grief are leaving crossplay turned on. Because they want to beat up on the console boys. The player base numbers don't lie. Way more people are playing on PC. So it's like, it ain't like you turned off crossplay and avoided like the toxic console boys. You're avoiding the PC boys that are leaving crossplay on so they can go whoop up on the console boys. That's why you turned off crossplay. You're like, yeah, dude, there's way less griefing. Yes, you're not in the funnel with the people who intentionally leave crossplay on so they can whoop up on them console boys. That's why I got news for you. In my experience, okay, in my experience, you PC boys, you guys, if I came to the family reunion, you have the more problematic uncles hanging out. I'm just gonna say it, all right? If I come to the PC boy family reunion, y'all are the ones that have way more weird uncles hanging out. Way more unwashed degenerates playing these weird gooner games and stuff. Like, listen, y'all have way more per capita than we do on console. So you just got to wear that, okay? If you're worried about toxic degenerate behavior, you aren't going to the family reunions. I'm here to tell you, okay? Listen. The PC Master Race boys, you know I'm right. Don't even be mad about this. Don't clip this and make me look mean. I'm saying this with a smile on my face. Y'all have some weirdos in your group, okay? Y'all have some weirdos. All we got to do is look at supply and demand, okay? If you're a student of economics, you just have to look at supply and demand and look at the games that are heavily supplied to the PC boys, okay? All right? So if you think the toxic behavior is coming from console, I don't know about that. I don't know about all that, okay? My bud and I turned off crossplay and it was worse. Honestly, we turned it back on. Well, it's obviously luck, Biggie. It's total luck. We know this, right? I played on Friday night with Madam and we didn't run into a single toxic player. There's other people that will boot up and they'll try to play, PvE and try to play friendly, and they'll get attacked the whole night. So it's luck. I would say turning off crossplay, you're limiting, your funnel, which means your odds of running into toxicity probably actually goes up because you're shrinking the player funnel. Like the minute you shrink the player funnel, I just poked my own eye almost. The minute you shrink the player funnel, you're limiting the number of people that you could run into and probably increasing the odds of running into toxicity. It's just a luck of the draw. It really, truly is. I'm not kidding you. I think they're doing something in the matchmaking where if you go in and you're like, hey, I'm friendly, and you're with a mic, and you have a lot of PvE extractions where you don't really exchange fire with other players, I think that creates a funnel where you're commonly getting grouped with those players. I'm not kidding you. They will never come out and admit this, but I have a hunch that they're doing something like that. You played co-op with your wife and every match wasn't shoot on site? No, we had a great time. It's on the YouTube channel right now, Mediocre Milton. I couldn't stream on Twitch on Friday night. The ingest servers were having a problem. It was reported on Down Detector, so I was only able to stream on YouTube. It's on my channel right now. My wife plays Arc Raiders. You know the one time we died? It was to the Arc. It was to the Arc. I think it was like a Rocketeer pinned her down, and like I shot at it, and instead of it coming and aggroing to me, it just blew her up in the bush that she was hiding in. I was watching Shroud, and it was full on war. Yeah, he's probably created that player funnel for himself. All the streams I've watched that are co-op, almost every encounter people shoot on site. We had 2 people shoot me, and I said, yo, I'm chill, I'm friendly, and they stopped. So you're just calling me a weird uncle just like that? You would wear it with pride. Come on. You would show up to the family reunion with the body pillow. Like, you wouldn't even leave it at home. You would bring it with you. You know what I'm saying? You would sit it next to you in a chair, and you would tell everybody its name. Like, come on. What are we even talking about here? Arc Raiders have been popping off. Here's the thing. Let's start pulling the questions. So, Pathalon Phoenix, you guys can have your questions pop up like this and be featured in the content if you're a member or a sub. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Keep the members going. You can do that right now. You don't got a gift. You can just renew and celebrate your renewal, and as long as it's like a Member Plus or VIP accounts. So, Pathalon Phoenix says, if there's a Destiny 3, will you play it? Listen, if Bungie can move on from being like, you know, petty and targeting creators they don't like, and I'm allowed to play it, yeah, I would play it. I would. I'm not like officially banned in Destiny 2. It was a dev ban through Steam. Like, the website doesn't even treat me like I'm banned. Like, Bungie.net doesn't even treat me like I'm a banned player because it wasn't a legitimate ban. Just like my ban from Twitch wasn't legitimate. Like, so if they decide to move on and no longer be petty, which I think PlayStation being in charge will help with that, right? I think PlayStation kicking the door in and being in charge will certainly help with that. You know, their community manager somehow found a muzzle big enough to not constantly go on social agenda tirades on Twitter. Apparently somebody found a muzzle big enough for him. So I would say, with PlayStation at the helm, I'll probably be allowed to play, would be my guess, if Destiny 3 actually does come out and becomes a thing. So, yes, I would play it. Now, would I become like a Destiny 3 content creator? No, I don't think so. Insomniac Black with 50 months and a VIP bumps the line to 305. We're exactly 20 away from the next milestone. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a single for each platform. I did not track who hit all these milestones. It was insane. It was insane. Insomniac says, we saw exactly how degenerate the P crowd is when we looked at the player graph in Stellar Blade that one Friday night. You could tell exactly what people were doing. The lotion market stock was up. Did you guys ever... Did we ever go back? Did that pattern of behavior ever change in Stellar Blade? Did it ever change? I don't think it ever did, boys. I don't think it ever did. Where is it? Let's just... I mean, it's still going on. Listen, boys. You can play Stellar Blade for longer than 15 minutes, okay? Look at these player peaks. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing over there? We know what you're doing. The Lord knows what you're doing. We know what you're doing, okay? It's November, and the player peaks are the same. They're the same. Everybody that plays Stellar Blade on PC apparently only plays for 15 minutes, and it's all at the middle of the night, and then they all shut the game back down. I want to know how all these guys are on the same schedule. That's the disturbing part. Not everybody has that kind of stamina. Yeah, we're 10 days into November. Oh gosh, I can't believe that player behavior is still doing that on that Steam chart. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. It's still just like down every day. Wow. It has a great story. I would love to take a peek at an alternate dimension where you didn't get banned and you're still actively covering the game to today. I can imagine that Lono would not be happy. Happy belated birthday, Lono. Have a nice day. Yo, Ben Johnny, thank you for the birthday wishes, man. Thank you, everybody who's gifting members, renewing members, super chats, all the things. If you're ordering coffee, the coffee's on a huge sale right now. We're working our way through the light and the medium roast. We're going to strip things down to the dark roast. So, yeah, there it is. There's the plot. That's right. I've been doing this November thing, and I don't see why it's so hard, except for peanut butter. I'm not even missing that much. There you go. Anyways, let's take the next question. Hang on. Somebody said something about it. About me being banned. Lonos wasn't banned. He was Thanos snapped out of existence. That's right. Okay, I was just making sure. I thought somebody asked a question about me being banned, and I'm always happy to answer questions. I do not dodge questions about anything that happened back then. We don't fixate on it. We don't dwell on it. But if you come in and you're from that era of time and you want to know what went down, I've never shied away from answering questions because I don't have anything to hide, unlike many other people. But we just don't dwell on it. I don't want anybody ever feeling like I'm in here dodging your questions. If I missed it, you can always repeat it. We don't make the content about it, though. But you are owed an answer if you supported me back then and consider supporting me now in the future. I think that's fair. Dave with 50 months in Member Plus. It's been around since the Orbit stream's been crushing it, Lono. Thank you. And then a gifted from Haseo. Haseo says, happy birthday. Sorry, it's all I can do. Haseo, that is more than enough. You're always here. You're always in the Discord. You're always positive. I mean, what more could a content creator ask for than somebody who's here like every single day and puts out positive vibes? I mean, come on, dude. Okay, let's go to the next question. Okay. Alex says, do you think Destiny 3 is even a viable road back at this point, or is it too far gone? It'd probably have a decent launch, but is it DOA? If they could support it and they could come up with a good content plan, I think it could be very successful. You just have to go dark for 5 years and make it amazing. What happened with you in Destiny 2? In February of 2021, they banned me from the game with zero explanation because there were people looking into what happened to me, and one of those people in particular had spoken to current and former Bungie employees, and they discovered their involvement with what happened with me, and I think that Bungie got, they didn't like that. I think that they were worried other content creators were going to get involved and pick up the story and run with it, and they wanted to make it clear, we'll hit this red button if we have to. And if that's how you earn your living, that's incredibly terrifying. I think that's what it was. I didn't ever break any of their TOS. They never spoke to me about it. I never got an email saying, hey, you broke this TOS. There was no TOS for me to break. The last time I played Destiny 2 was on my couch with my son in 2021. He was like running Lost Sectors. He thought the game was fun. And that was the last time I played the game. So now, for Alex's question about would D3, yeah, I think it could. I think if you go dark for 4 or 5 years and you drop a trailer and it just says Destiny 3, listen, you restructure the leadership, you let PlayStation be, somewhat in charge. You don't need PlayStation micromanaging, but you got to get PlayStation involved, get the leadership out, and then build a great Destiny 3. I can't see their size. You can't justify their size and their operation costs without something that size. Yo, Biggie Smalls gifts a member. Thank you so much for doing that. Bumps the line to 308. 308 on a dadgum Monday, boys. Happy belated birthday. Thank you, Biggie Smalls. I appreciate that. That article was very inflammatory. What article are you talking about? Wired Rope says, other than Destiny 3, what could save Destiny at this point? The only other thing that could save them, and I don't even know if this would save them, this would burn out really, really quickly, is if you did some kind of like a Destiny 1 remake, but I don't think that would save them. I think that would burn out really quick. I think 3 months in, you'd be in the same scenario. People would be like, yeah, been there, done that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that has staying power. I don't think that has staying power. Relaunch the Red War. That's right. Like, Destiny 1 has some great stuff back there, but they've already burned a lot of that content. They brought a lot of those raids. Like every raid but Wrath of the Machine came back, right? I don't think that would work. I think it would burn out really, really quickly. It'd be nostalgic for about a month. People would run the content for maybe another month or two, like grinding and going for best rolls and stuff and running raids or what have you. But I don't think it would have any staying power. Destiny players want the one thing they can never have, to play Destiny again for the first time, but with the benefit of Bungie's collected experience. Dark Taco says, I was behind, but the PC guys having problematic uncles was so accurate. I hate you, Lono. Thank you, Dark Taco. I appreciate that. So yeah, I don't doubt that Destiny has it can have a future. I think it can. I think it can have a future. I think it's just going to be one where you have to stop being. This was their problem going from Destiny 1 to 2. You're financially dependent on the game, so you got to keep it going, but you've also got to build the next game. You've got to remove that from the equation. If you remove that from the equation, they could make an incredible game. Imagine what they could do with a new engine that's more agile. I don't think Tiger's agile enough. Tiger's got a great feel. It's probably the best gunplay in the market. It's not agile enough. They can say all they want that it's not archaic. Okay, fine. It's not agile enough. They cannot make changes fast enough. They cannot make adjustments fast enough. They can't. It's a known issue. That issue's never truly gone away. Member Plus renewal from Pimp Shrimp, 28 months. Enjoy Arc Raiders so far. Haven't run into a ton of griefers, mostly people helping. I asked the guy where the dog collars were, and he just gave me one. See? Operation Friendship. If you guys hold the line on Operation Friendship, we can be a cause for good in that game. We can fight against the PvP boys. I think that's the ultimate social experiment, is that if we can keep the positive vibes in that game. Hey, 2 orders of coffee came through because we're doing a big sale. A triple threat to George. Thank you, George. Actually, George, did you mean to do 2 different orders? Or did our system glitch? I got your order number there. Oh, no, it sent me 2 different emails. My eyes are old. I can't see through my glasses this close. Never mind. It's one order. It's the same order number. It just sent me 2 emails for some reason. But imagine what they could do with a new engine that was more agile than the Tiger engine, and if that's all they built for 5 years. That's it. They weren't doing anything else. They weren't messing around with this marathon crap, and they weren't messing around with Destiny 2. My PC bros are addicted to Arc Raiders. My console bros are like, let's hop on the hunt. Yeah, Arc Raiders is a much larger player base on PC. TJ Love submitted a question about Arc Raiders and said, what would you like to see Arc Raiders do with a 2.0 moment? Well, they don't need a 2.0 moment. A 2.0 moment is when a game needs to turn things around, and they're not there. Their game is doing just fine. And if anything, they need to maintain momentum. I'm going to tell you right now, one of the best ways to maintain momentum is to not mess with too much. Don't mess with too much. The biggest mistake they could make right now is they start overreacting. You got these guys complaining about free kits, right? I wouldn't touch free kits. Leave it alone. Just let it go. Let the thing go. Let the social experiment run for a couple of more weeks. And then you got to start to make adjustments. And even then, I would make minor adjustments. I'd make minor adjustments. I would not be making significant adjustments. You can set a pendulum in motion that you can't get back. You can't get it back. You start making changes and you're letting go of a pendulum that's going to swing all the way over here. And now the player base is doing this. And you're like, oh, shoot, now we got to make an adjustment to this. Boom. And you're going to set the pendulum coming back this way. I think their best course of action to maintain momentum is to not make a bunch of significant changes. Just kind of let things play out. I'm telling you, one of the biggest dilemmas that games get into in these situations is they change too much too soon and they start fiddling. It's like messing with ingredients. It's like trimming your beard, and all of a sudden your chin strap, background singer for Limp Bizkit. You're like, oh, what the frick did I do? Like, you can do too much and then you can't come back from it. What's the issue with free kits? People think that too many people use them. Or I actually don't know what the argument is. Are they too strong? Are they showing up too often? Like, what the frick is everybody's problems with free kits? I don't really know. I don't think the free kits are that strong at all. Live service sounds stressful. It likely is, but the money can be so good. It's probably like, the guys that stand on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, right? It's stressful, but they're making crazy money. Little to none in terms of hope for Destiny, says Wolvie. What's good, Wolvie? I am praying that they cancel Trials so I can be free of my flawless streak, but enjoying the heck out of Arc Raiders on the brighter side. I think the people complaining about free kits, I think the reason they're complaining about free kits is I think they're probably playing in a very specific way. And the free kits are a disruption to that. Risk-free PvP. No one's going in with free kits and PvPing it up, though. You don't have enough ammo. And finding ammo is really inconsistent. It's going to be a great time for Black Friday sales. PlayStation Portal, maybe. What do you mean? Where are you getting this information? I'm not going to say any of those prices, Perfect Image. Where'd you get that? You said maybe. Neo Reaper and the OA, you guys both submitted questions. It looks like the OA, you're going to have to resubmit your question. You and Neo Reaper kind of stepped on each other. Likely the lack of a cool down resulting in it being the primary kit people run. I would 100% run free kit if I was hunting players. Zero risk. You don't realize how weak you are, though. You would get waxed. You're going to die really fast running a free kit. You don't have much to your name. You have very little ammo. A lot of times you're going to have a crappy gun. You're going to get annihilated by anybody running a decent kit against the free kit. What's in the free kit? A gun, 1 box of ammo. I think one, maybe 2 shield recharges and basic bandies, and then some other random items. Like you might get like a random grenade or something. Doesn't matter if it's zero risk. Sure it is. If you want a PvP and you go in zero risk and 6 games in a row, you just get outgunned because you have almost no ammo and nothing to your name. That's not a very effective evening. You can't tell me that you're going to play for an hour, lose basically every gunfight because you're running a free kit, and be like, well, at least I'm not taking any risk. You're not doing anything. You're not getting any loot. You're not extracting. 1 shield recharge? Yeah, so 1 shield recharge. It's a step up from naked. It's a gun, a box of ammo, a shield recharge, like 4 of the lowest level bandages you can get, and then maybe like a random grenade. I disagree. Free kit Stitcher with decent aim will outperform a lot of average players, even with good guns. Yeah, what are you going to do the times you get the bad ones, though, Paris? Think about what we're saying. If you're going to run PvP all night, and you can randomly get the Stitcher or the Pharaoh, but you get other guns that are not worth a darn, even against the Arcs, you're going to burn through your ammo against a standard Arc, and you're going to be like standing there naked with nothing, no bullets to your name. It's like, oh, is it 2 bandages? Listen, this is exactly why Kettle, not Stitcher, my bad. I was going to say, I didn't think the Stitcher was very good, so Kettle. This is exactly why they shouldn't change anything. Go ahead. If that's what you want to do, I say go ahead. Go. You do you, boo-boo. I'm going to laugh at you 2 hours later when you've achieved basically nothing. When you're like, yeah, I'm going to run free kit PvP all night. Okay. Have fun. Hopefully a Leaper doesn't hear you. Hopefully a Rocketeer doesn't hear you. You've got nothing to your name. You're not going to be effective. Go ahead. The game's going to take care of you. Okay. The game's going to take care of you. You are not going to last. You are going to find out real fast. You're going to be in the find out stage within 30 minutes. Go ahead. Go play that way. That's why they shouldn't change anything. If you want to run free kits, PvP all night, man, you have a ball. You're going to be so ineffective. Yeah, you might take advantage of a new player and betray them and shoot them in the back or something. But by and large, it's not going to be worth your time. You'd be way more effective going in and playing PvE and looting and getting out than like, oh, I'm going to go fight players. With a free kit all night? Sure, go ahead. Oh, IGN's reporting on the Black Friday PlayStation deals. Oh, those are predictions. No, I'm not pulling that up. I don't want to get any. That's so easy for people to be like, I thought they were going to do this. That's just predictions. If they're right, great. I'm not put stuff like that on the screen because they could be totally wrong. For real, Lono, Blue Gate and Spaceport, you're not running free kits for fun. That's what I'm saying. I'm dead serious. I think a lot of these complaints are people self-reporting. They're grinding it out on the dam. They're going to the first map and they're grinding it out and they're pissed because they're not getting anything. Why? Because that's where most of the new players or low-risk players or questing players are hanging out. And you're going there and you're getting nothing. Why? Because you know why you're going there. You're trying to farm new players and you're not getting anything for it. Ain't no way you're going to go run free kits on the harder environments and be like, yeah, dude, I've just free kitting PvP. No, you're not. You're grinding out the damn map. We all know it. Spaceport, you don't want a free kit. Also, night raids. Yeah, you're not going into Spaceport. You're not going into night raids with free kit. The free kit, you are so impoverished. You are not going in with any semblance of strength. You're going to get farmed by the arcs or by actual players. There ain't no way. If you're taking free kit in to do low-risk PvP, you're doing it on the intro map because you want to farm new players. Free kits for basic missions, getting enough to set up workbenches and build enough. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So much of the commentary, this is exactly why Embark should make almost no changes. So much of the commentary is centered around a slice of the game that people are interacting with. If you actually interact with leveling up the benches, leveling up your gear, and getting good gear to go into the more challenging environments, none of this stuff is a factor there. You're not going to go into a night raid and be like, oh, I killed 2 players. Everyone's running the free kit. No. They're running the free kit in the dam, which makes perfectly good sense. It's the beginning area. The criticism seems to be I'm not getting rewarded for killing players. You go into the more challenging areas and you're going to get stuff. You're going to get stuff. People are going to be more kitted in the challenging areas. Guaranteed. $20 from the OA as a super chat. Yesterday I saw a video of 2 guys shouting friendly, friendly, and then one said, unless you don't want to be friendly, and the other one answers, why don't we solve this like men, and both start fighting with hammers. It was hilarious. That's the kind of stuff you love to see. You're killing the wrong players then? If you are finding a propensity of people coming in with free kits and playing low risk, odds are you're going in the wrong places. You're going into like the dam. You're going into the intro environment where that's going to be the propensity. Once you get really good gear and you're wanting to do night raids or go into the harder maps, you're not going to be running into people running free kits because they're not going to survive. Hilly and I the one time ran free kits, and I don't think we went to the first map. We went to the second map, and there were way too many arc, and we got annihilated. We had to run for our lives with no ammo because we didn't have enough to survive. They're not skilled enough to kill good players. They're running Spaceport or Blue Gate. That's what I'm saying. They're going to the dam. You won't do endgame content with free kits. That's exactly what I'm saying. This game has a natural trajectory of you're gearing up and going up. You're getting better gear. You're getting better equipped so you can go into the harder environments. If somebody is belly aching that everybody they kill is running free kits or nobody's taking risk, yeah, you're hanging out in the wrong area. That's not, if you want people to be kitted, you need to go where you need to be kitted. You're going to areas where you don't need to be kitted. I don't need to run a kit on the dam if I'm running a quest. You're trying to farm noobs and questers, and you're mad that they're not taking any risk. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, well, I'm going to an area where you don't need to kit out, and everybody's playing low risk and doing quests. They're easier to kill. Oh, gee, I wonder why you're not getting good loot from killing them. You're not taking any risk either. That's the irony of the entire situation. It's like, You're literally going into the space of the game where people are taking the less risk, and you're taking the less risk, and you're angry that they are. It's like, what? That's so hypocritical. If you want increased reward, take increased risk. Go into the harder areas. Why? Because free kit players won't survive there. Do you see? It's logical. There's a harmony to the way the game is built. There is. If you want to find players who are taking bigger risks and have better kits, you need to go into the environments that necessitate that. You're going into an environment that doesn't necessitate that, and you're wondering why nobody's running good kits. It's like going back to the level 1 area of the RPG and belly aching that all the loot's bad and the enemies are too easy to kill. It's like, well, yeah, you're going... What do you mean? You're going back to the starting area. Yeah, that makes perfectly good sense. I can't believe players aren't taking risk here. They're all running free kits. Yeah, it's the environment where you don't need to do that. If you're just trying to like fix a radio tower or find syringes, I don't need to bring in my pink gun to do that. There's a logic to it. This is bewildering to me. Like, I'm not willing to take risk, but they should. Like, oh, okay. Forgive me for not going into the opening map and running quests with all of the best gear in the game, and then I get killed by a rocketeer and lose it all. Like, come the frick on. Like, no one's going to do that. No one's going to risk their loot in an environment like that when all they got to do is, like, find a medical building and get syringes and bandages for a quest. They're not going to take in their best loot. Noberto with a VIP, 54 months. Another one. Stoked to hear what Arc Raiders is getting all the love, or why. Oh, no, you're stoked to hear that Arc Raiders is getting all this love. This might be my comfort shooter after the D2 nonsense left a void in my heart. Much love, homie. Well, welcome back in, Noberto. Rounding us out to 310 on a dadgum Monday. Thank you, sir. I appreciate all the birthday wishes and all the generosity. It's very, very kind. Let me check something here. Also, people hitting subscribe on the channel. If you haven't done so yet and you want to talk in my chat and you want me to be in your feed or on your homepage in the future, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. I could see a point where free kits and in-match crafting, that perk does make the risk of the free kit easier, but ultimately I don't see the problem with immediate change required. But there's another balancing act going on there, and this is why I don't think that they should be making any drastic changes, Gale. If I go in with free kit and I can craft on the fly, do you know what I'm doing when I'm doing that? I'm having to go into buildings, either avoid entanglements, engagements with the Arc, or take some of them out, like the little roly guys, you kind of have to, or the spiders, and I'm finding loot, and then I'm going into my menu, and I'm crafting. I'm doing all the things that are laced with risk in accordance to the rewards that I'm getting. Like, what am I actually getting? Oh, I got some rubber materials and some arc so I can make some shield recharge. Like, ooh, settle down there, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting rewarded in accordance to the work that I'm doing. Like, you're not going to walk away with a ton of stuff if that's the way you go in and play. Multiple people were saying you can re-roll free kits before launch, before spawning in. Yeah, that would be called an exploit that needs to be patched. That's not an economic reality within the game's balance. That sounds like an exploit that needs to be patched. They can also upgrade these kits over and over. What do you mean they can upgrade these kits over and over? When I take the free kit in, I've got it. They can then go sell the kit after they're done to get a normal one. So you take the run, you get the free kit. You have to extract to then trade the thing in for like a whopping $100, or you get you can get one of the standard kits. That doesn't give you loot, it just gives you the inventory space to do the normal stuff. Like a safe pocket, a larger inventory space, free kit extract, upgrade, repeat. So, what's wrong with that? If I go run a free kit and I extract and I upgrade and I repeat, it sounds like you just described a pretty healthy content loop where I go in with very little, I get enough to come back out and upgrade, now I can go back in slightly stronger. What do you think when they extract and they upgrade, they suddenly are like coming in like the Terminator? Like, I've played the game a pretty good amount. I don't think I've ever extracted with the free kit and been like, oh, it's my time now. I'm going to go back in there like RoboCop. It's like, no, you probably have some materials, maybe some ammo, and maybe and the gun that you extracted with. That's pretty much it. It's not going to be that much different next round now that you've been able to upgrade your kit. You've just upgraded to a kit that has a safe pocket and slightly more space of inventory, or it can do like the level 2 shield or something, but you still got to make the level 2 shield or buy the level 2 shield. Like, you're still working within the confines of the economic structure of the game. You're not like going in, extracting with a free kit and being like, yep, all right, cool, now I can go be strong and kill everybody. Upgrading to a normal kit doesn't do anything other than give you safe pocket, larger space to store stuff. And then if you do the one, you can get you could then go equip a stronger shield. But again, you got to either make or buy the stronger shield. It doesn't come with it. You're literally just getting extra slots in a safe pocket. That's what I'm saying. There's no significant disruption of power in the game if I extract with the free kit and then go trade it in to upgrade. That's not giving me any semblance of power in the game. It isn't. It's such a menial upgrade. I mean, it gives you the safe pocket and more storage space. That's pretty much it. It's not giving me guns. It's not giving me ammo. It's not giving me bandies. It's not giving me shield recharge. All the other consumables that are required for strength in the game, I've got to get on my own, either through purchase or crafting. That's it. Like, I'm telling you. My easiest and quickest diagnosis here is people are pissed they're running into a disproportionate amount of free kit players because they're going to the same dadgum map. They won't go into the harder areas. You're not going to go into the harder areas and find a propensity of people on free kits because the free kits aren't strong enough. The free kits are literally meant to be used in like the introductory area for questing. They're not meant to be used in the harder area. Unless, of course, you just feel like making it harder on yourself. When we went to that area with the sunken city or whatever it's called and the sand was everywhere, I can't imagine going there with a free kit and thinking you're going to be okay. You're going to have a really hard time. You're very exposed. There's plenty of arc. The arc are very aggressive. Getting in and out of the buildings is not nearly as easy as the first map. The first map, there's like a propensity of buildings everywhere. You can run about 50 meters, maybe 100 meters, and you're in a building on the first area, on the dam. Generally speaking, if you get caught out in the open on the dam, you were probably being kind of reckless. You weren't paying attention. Generally speaking, you can navigate around the arc fairly easily in the first map. Once you get level 2 workstations and level 3 will require you to farm arc, you'll need to go in with the proper setup. Yeah, you're going to need to go in with, a Pharaoh and heavy ammo, or what was it, the anvil and heavy ammo, so you can take them out, decently, efficiently. I'm telling you, this is one of the easiest quick diagnoses I've ever done. The people that are complaining about this are hanging out in one area. It's very possible, but no cooldown on a free loadout every match that can be turned into upgrade and valuables doesn't sit well with me at all. I think if you played the game for a day and you saw how minimal the payout was from that upgrade, I think you would see that it's not a problem because it's only really helping you in that intro area. It's not going to help you in the harder areas. How long does it take you to spawn and extract? Depending on where you land. So let's just say, for the sake of the discussion, Eugene, that you've crunched the numbers and you're going to go in free kit and you're just going to immediately extract so you can go upgrade you can trade the free kit in or whatever. Okay. 5 minutes is probably your fastest, and that's going to be RNG based. You might not be close enough to one. You might get into a server where the things have already been used and the timer's gone down too far, and you got to travel really, really, a good amount of distance before you can extract. I would imagine if you're literally going to go in with free kit and just run to an extract and leave, you're not going to open up anything. You just want the free kit to trade in. I don't think anybody's doing that because the value is so minimal. You're trading it in to make your kit larger so you have more storage space and a safe pocket. That's all you're getting from doing that. You're not, and you get the gun that you spawn in within 1 box of ammo. So if you don't shoot a single bullet, you get a free gun, a free box of ammo, and now you can upgrade so there's more storage space. I really don't think that's... Let's just say somebody does that. The game is already balanced because the only place that's effective is the early area. Nobody's going to do that and cause a disruption in the balance of the power of the game, because you're not going to suddenly find yourself being able to go into the harder areas, harder quests, harder challenges, or even a kitted out player. That's not going to give you a sense of power in the game. You're still going to have 1 gun, 1 box of ammo, a shield recharge, like 2 bandies, and you're like, well, now I can upgrade so I have a safe pocket. Generally, that's what you'd be doing, is you'd be upgrading so you have the safe pocket. So if you do find anything of value, you can protect it. This is only an effective grind in the first area. You go to the other areas, it's not going to be an effective grind. It's going to be harder to get to the tram. It's going to be harder to get to the extracts. And to do what? To trade in the free kit? Like, I don't think anybody's doing that. And if they do, they're not benefiting that much from doing that. You take free kits out of the game, what sort of timer would even add to it? Yeah, like what kind of a debuff do you want to put on the player base or the players who just like running free kits? Like what are you achieving by doing that? You also get the loot that you extract with. If you know the good spots with the free kit, you can easily walk out with a ton of loot. Oh, for sure. But that's the point, isn't it? What are we even talking about? Listen, I said this the other day. You should only be making changes if players are doing something that is counterproductive. I don't think you should be stopping people from camping extracts. I don't think you should be stopping people from doing betrayals, although it would be cool to create a truce system so there is some kind of a consequence of betraying somebody. I think that'd be cool in the social experiment. The only thing that's counterproductive is people that are killing people right out of spawn because that player's not even getting to play. I do not think the free kit is causing disruption. I don't. I think it's being overstated by people who are likely farming the first map, and they're annoyed that they're finding mostly free kits on players. You're going to an environment that does not require players to kit up, and you're complaining that they're not kitted up. It's like you're not thinking. The players complaining about this aren't thinking logically. If you want to kill players who are kitted up, go to environments that require that. It's a mathematical probability game is what you're doing. It would be like going to like a low-level chess club and complaining that nobody's challenging you. Well, you're not fighting anybody at your chess rating. You're not going up. You're going to an environment where everybody's going to have like bad or basic loot or free kits because they don't need to kit up for the opening area. I'm imagining a time where the hot loot spots are figured out. People run free, beeline to that spot, and immediately extract. Okay, what's the problem with that? Where's the issue? I'm not seeing the issue, so you're going to have to outline it for me. Let's say somebody does that. And again, there's RNG involved, Eugene. There might be players there. The players might have already looted. The players might be hostile and shoot at you. You might have gotten the map a little bit late and everything's been picked over. So even if you do that, you're still not guaranteed to have it be successful. 1 in 3 runs, maybe. The other 2 out of the 3 runs, it's very likely. This has happened to me many times. I go to a hot area or I go to an area where I needed a key and everything's already been picked over. Like, so if a player does that and has success, they go in with the free kit, they go to the good loot spot, get a bunch of great loot, and they extract. Where's the issue? Again, I only think you should be adjusting the game if something emerges that is counterproductive. It's like working against the game's function and how it's been designed. That sounds like the game working as it's designed. Somebody takes the chance, because we're saying low risk. I actually think that's actually unfair in the representation. They are taking a risk. They could waste 15 minutes of their time because they go in, they go all the way over to the hot spot, they navigate around the arc because they don't have a lot of ammo, so they're not able to move super fast and just like take arc out. They get to the building, they comb over the loot, maybe they don't get anything, maybe they do, maybe they get killed. They are taking risk because they don't have a whole lot of power in the game. They could waste their time. To act like it's no risk, Well, yeah, it's no risk of losing good loot, but there's still risk involved. They could waste their time. They could be unsuccessful. They could be killed by Arc. They could be killed by other players because they're going in a weakened state. So they are risking. I think they're just not risking high value loot, which makes perfectly good sense if you're just trying to go in and do a quest, or you're trying to get some gear. You're like, I need some better gear. No safe pocket as well. Right, no safe pocket. So if they die, I mean, they truly get nothing. I don't consider time a risk. I think a lot of players do. If you get home from work and you have 2 hours to play and you are unsuccessful in a couple of runs and 35 to 40 minutes have been burned and you got nothing to show for it, I think that is indeed something that they have risked. They risked their time. All you have is time, meta progression. Yeah, their time is attached to their progression, Eugene. If they play for 2 hours and half of that play time was unsuccessful runs because they ran free kit and because they were weak, they got killed, or they ran a loot route that's popular and a lot of other people got there first and they don't have a lot of loot to show for it, well, they slowed down their own progression. They didn't make as much, in-game progression, for that time. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Listen, this is what I'm going to say. I think people are jumping the gun, and they've not played enough, and they don't know enough, and they're jumping the gun, and they don't understand the natural progression of the game is to make free kits less efficacious and less valuable the farther you are in the game. Free kits are only really strong and helpful and beneficial when you're in those opening areas quest grinding. They're not going to be effective when you get further in the game. I'm telling you right now, players are getting bored. They're going to the dam. They're going to the first map. They're farming new players, and they're annoyed that there's a propensity of free kits on the first map. I'd bet money that's what we're hearing from most of the time, is a bored player or a weak player who's farming the opening area. And that area will naturally have a loot probability of free kits being common. That's what I think's going on. I think that's where the complaints are stemming from, largely. Because I've got experienced players in my chat who are saying, you're not going to get to these other maps, and you're not going to get to these other activities and want to run free kits. You're not going to. So, Neo Reaper with another question. This is something that members can do both on YouTube and Twitch. Neo Reaper says, it's been around 2 weeks with Arc Raiders. Do you think Embark made the right call adding PvP? Well, it depends on how you measure what was the right call. I'm going to answer the question as if being successful and getting lots of players would mean they made the right call, which means that they made the right call. I think the game is significantly more popular because of the PvP. You're not going to have Shroud, Ninja, Timmy, Nick Merckx. You're not going to have these boys playing and fragging out and laughing and making hilarious clips and moments and entertainment. They're not playing if it's PvE. They're not touching it. The virality of the game, the surge of interest, especially on PC, it's because PvP is there. It is. I 100% think they made the right call. Yes. I think they would not nearly have the potency that they have in the market right now, the top of mind. Like, they're a brand in the market overnight. Like the way Helldivers became like a brand in the market. Like, everybody's talking about Helldivers, everybody's talking about Arc Raiders. PvP is why. If there was no PvP, I want you to think about most of the clips that you've watched that have made you laugh. It's because of the threat of PvP. If PvP wasn't there, it'd just be dudes working together to take down bots. And there'd be pretty epic moments, but a lot of those epic moments would just look like Helldivers, but post-apocalyptic robots. If you watch streamers, it looks like they're playing BR. Yeah, because that's their brand and that's what they sell. Zero shade at all, but that's what they sell to the audience. That's why they're so successful, by the way. They sell drama. not petty drama. I mean, they sell drama. They put on a play. They put on a show. And it's like anything could happen. Proximity chat really helps with this. It really adds another layer to the drama. Some of the Nade shot clips were hysterical because Nade is in here making, he's selling drama. I think in a healthy way, not in a bad way. He's selling drama. They're selling drama. They're selling a story. And that's what they do. That's their brand. They go into BR, they go into these games, and they set these scenes up. It's why when Battlefield was, RedSec was all the rage. What's the clip that we all saw? We saw Timmy Tenders crash in a helicopter and everybody dying and everybody's yelling. Like, it's like the Chain Together clip where they fall and they're like, Tyler, 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 Tyler. Like, Ninja gets them knocked down. Like, I don't think, those moments that's what they're selling. They're selling drama. They're selling a moment that you got to be there for because it's so funny when it happens, right? How is RedSec doing, by the way? Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not sure what the player numbers are like. I've not looked. I didn't touch it. Not my bag, not my kind of game. Let's take another question. JC says, do you think we'll see any PlayStation first party games at the State of Play tomorrow? No, I think they've made it pretty clear it's going to be partners. And it will be, focused on Asia. Now, some of their publishing efforts with China Hero and other things may be there. My timeline is full of Arc clips, so I really don't know. That's what I'm saying. Arc Raiders took over. They took over the conversation. Which is exactly why they shouldn't be doing any tweaking right now. Unless it's busted, broken, or a bug, they should not be making any adjustments. Leave it alone. Leave the game alone. Let things play out. Let things play out. I think overcorrecting right now is an enormous risk that they would take. Trey Gaming says, Lono, as someone who loves Arc as is there anything you would change? My brother got a code for the most recent marathon beta, and he says Arc still destroys it. Yeah, I don't think much is going to change. Yeah, there's a State of Play tomorrow. It'll be in Japanese with English subtitles. It's focused on Japan and the Asian market. The only thing I would change is if they can minimize and make it hard for people to camp the spawns, like we've seen some pretty scummy clips, I think that's the only thing they should legislate. I don't think anything else should be legislated. But if you're going to sit outside of a spawn and set traps in the spawn or at the top of the spawn, I just think that's scumbag. I don't. There's no reason to respect that. You're not even letting somebody play the game. It's not like they have loot either. It's like they just walked in. Now you could obviously be like, oh, it's great ammo farm. Okay. I think that's the only thing that's counterproductive. Because you can't really convince that player that yeah, that's legitimate. Sorry, man, you were in the game for 10 seconds. I think that's counterproductive. Outside of that, I really wouldn't change much, only than giving people the option in the opening area to just, if they want to run PvE, allow them to have an introductory PvE only area. The rest of the game, you should not be able to do that. PvP people are like, you're forcing PvP. No, you're not. It's just an ever-present threat in the game, just like Arc. No one's forcing you to engage with the Arc. A lot of the PvP Battle Royale streamers were belly aching about that. They hated the Arc. They didn't want to interact with the Arc. Guess what? If you play with a reasonable amount of awareness and intelligence, you can avoid interacting with the Arc. My wife and I did it for 2 hours the other night. We only had one bad encounter with the Arc, and arguably the AI kind of misfired. It kind of misbehaved. I should have been able to bait the guy off. It doesn't mean we would have been able to get away, but yeah, that would be like saying you're forcing me to do PvE. No, it's just an ever-present threat in the game, and you can avoid it if you play with any semblance of awareness. And with PvP, again, it's not forced on you. You can avoid other players to a certain degree. You can not draw attention to yourself as best you can. Like when you're in the buildings, you got to shoot, the little ball guys and stuff. So yeah, I don't see anything major that needs to be changed right now. My advice to the developers is gather as much data as you possibly can before you make any adjustments. Because right now, the dust hasn't really settled, right? Have you ever seen the guy? He does the analogy where he's got like these rocks and he's like, these are the big, most important things in your life. And he puts them in the jar first. And then he puts pebbles in, then he puts sand in, then he puts water in, right? And he's like, if you put the sand in, the little things, you won't be able to get the big things in. And what he's trying to communicate is focus on the big things in life. Like if you focus on the little things, there's no room for the big things. It's sort of like a life coaching visual. Well, the visual, I think, can serve as another way. You have like the core elements of the game that are in place that aren't going to really move, okay? And then you have all the other things kind of in and around it. You've got the economy, the leveling, the questing, and then you have all the little things in there that are just completely intangible. The way players are going to behave, the way players are going to act. You got to let all of that sediment settle before you realize, oh, this is a little disjointed, this is a little unhealthy, this is a bad thing that we don't want to see. Right now is not the time to make changes. You got to let the sediment and the rock and the pebbles, you got to let all that settle for a while. And then you say, okay, now we've seen enough that we could make some changes and not disrupt too much. Right now is a terrible time to make changes. Unless it's a bug or like something that's being exploited, I don't think you need to make adjustments right now. This is the worst time to make adjustments to a game like Arc Raiders. If you're just tuning in, do me a favor and hit the like button over there on YouTube. Try to get us to 300 likes. So, yeah. Over the weekend, they reached over 700,000 concurrent players on the surface. That's insane. Almost 1 million concurrent across all platforms. We had a team yesterday shoot me, and we said that we're friendly. Yeah. I mean, there are going to be people that just do that. They're not going to play friendly. They're not going to play Operation Friendship, and that's okay. Mediocre Milton says, since you seem to be enjoying Arc Raiders, is there any chance you will try Escape from Tarkov, which is leaving early access this week? I have no interest in Escape from Tarkov. I've seen enough of that game to know that it has nothing for me. Like, I mean nothing for me. It would not appeal to me at all. Game flow, required skill, the way that the game typically goes, the way that typically, fights typically go, that's a game I'll never touch. And I know they have a PvE only mode or whatever, but yeah. Yeah, Wilbur, I'm experimenting this week with not pausing them at all. So you just gotta have to figure out what you gotta do. A question from Zinthos. How likely do you think it is for Sony to be willing to fund Destiny 3 given Bungie seems to be in a bad state as of late? Well, since they basically kicked the door in and turned them into a PlayStation studio, there's got to be something that PlayStation wants from them. Right? Like, PlayStation wants something from them, whether it's Destiny 3 or they'll split the company up, recoup the talent, and have them work on different things. You know what I mean? Yeah, we've just got to experiment to see, like, if we can figure out how to get in the good graces of, the way that, like, live streams function on the platform. I think pausing was probably hurting us. So, yeah, like, if PlayStation's going to step in and be like, this is our studio now, like, we're calling the shots, I mean, they're going to have to give direction. They're going to have to give direction. I mean, they're going to want something. They're not going to want them just sitting there, like, doing, nothing. Or just like letting Destiny 2 slowly die. Off to sleep. All right, Polarin, have a good one. Haven't watched a Lono video in a while. Not into console war stuff. I don't have a dog in the fight. Let's just take a sample of the videos that I've made. Halo, Red Sec, Arc Raiders, Call of Duty, PS6, snubbed Expedition 33, Saros, Wolverine. Okay. I have a video that says Xbox was wrong that addresses their marketing. I agree with every word you said. It's about my Destiny video. I love Star Wars, but watching trailer. Yeah, I mean, I just checked. This is a long-time member. I just checked my last 20 videos, and maybe 2 touched on Xbox or PlayStation. The rest are about games. Sorry if you weren't seeing them. Like, I would check my video tab and my live tab. If you feel like that's all I've been doing, then you've really got to ask the question. Like, what about when I covered Saros, Halo, Red Sec, Arc Raiders, Call of Duty, when the PS6 is releasing? That's not even console warring. That's just when the PS6 is releasing. Expedition 33, Bungie and Marathon, Wolverine, What is Honor in Tsushima? Like, all those videos. I have a video about Xbox was wrong, and the Xbox Next Gen is not a console. That's not even console warring, by the way. The Xbox Next Gen is not a console is actually a positive video about how the next thing they're going to build could be good. But those are the only ones that are about platforms. Everything else is about games. I don't know. I sometimes wonder if the algo is pushing the more divisive videos and not pushing the positive videos. And then somebody's like, yeah, that's all this guy's talking about. It's like, well, did you see the other 10 videos, or did it just not show them to you? Like, we made a concerted effort in the last 6 months to make most of the content about games. Uploads are about games. And yes, I had to make a video about the next Xbox console and the next PlayStation console. That's not console warring. That's new hardware that's coming. That's, I think, fair commentary to make. But we made a concerted effort to make the content about games. If you're not seeing the videos, that's your fault. You're either watching that content, or you're not coming to the channel, or you're not checking your sub feed. That's not my fault. I can't control what you see. I'm only in charge of what I make. And we made a very, very conscious decision months ago to basically be like, we want to talk about games. If stuff comes up, we'll force it. Like, I took a 2-month break from even talking about Xbox because we just didn't want to get into the nonsense. So it's either your algo or your behavior that's driving that. That's not on me. If you're not seeing the content, that's a you problem. That's why I always tell people, get in the Discord and check your subscriber feed. I can't control what hits your homepage, you know? Also, we've had people complaining that it's constantly showing them old content. So if you're seeing a bunch of old videos about Xbox and PlayStation, I also don't have any control over that, and you might think those are new videos when they're not. I've had people complaining about that as well. They're only seeing old videos. And it's like, I don't have any control over that. We made a pretty concerted commitment, and we've stuck to it to primarily stick to talking about games. So, Eurogamer gave Arc Raiders 2 out of 5 stars because they used AI for some of the voice lines. I know it's weird to react to someone's review. Well, not if anybody else does it, only if I do it, and then people want to subtweet about it. But I mean, we could read through this and see what people are saying, because I don't understand why they would take so much points off for it because they used AI. Block, delete, what is this? No. All right, hang on a second. We keep getting these DMs because we had one video do well. And they're like, would you like an editor? Have you seen all the people reacting to IGN's review of Arc Raiders? Yeah. Yeah. Reacting to somebody else's review is weird and requires subtweets and cheap shots when I do it. Everybody else does it all the time, though. The entire platform is driven by reaction content. People are really, really keenly aware of what I do, though, which is really interesting. I don't know why. I don't know. It's interesting. Arc Raiders review. A smartly designed extraction shooter marred by one inexcusable decision. Okay, so... All right. It's about battling, outnumbered and exposed. Puff intro. Benefited. Okay, so they're talking about the virality. It's a typical extraction shooter. All right. It's brilliantly designed. Arcs with combined power makes them dangerous. Arc's presence makes taking out players an additional risk. Right, we know all this. I cannot stress enough that this surprisingly genial atmosphere would be nothing without... yeah, that's right. Every player willing to shoot you in the back. Right, okay. Okay. It's also adept at involving you in its loot cycle. All right. Okay. Randomized free loadout. Previous shooter, the finals. Okay. Like their previous shooter, the finals, Arc Raiders displays considered design. Here, let me get the text larger for you guys. Oh, never mind. I can't do that. Their formatting on Eurogamer is super weird. Also, the finals, this design is overshadowed by the specter of AI. Arc Raiders uses machine learning algorithms for its arc animations and text-to-speech based performance generated from the voices of real actors. While I'm deeply skeptical of AI use in game development, it's important to emphasize the nuances at play here. For starters, these two techniques are not the same. While Embark has further argued, less convincingly, that TTS is different than generative AI tools like ChatGPT. Wait, so they've not convinced you that text-to-speech is different than that? Certainly, machine learning is not new technology in video games, experimented with by developers at least since the black and white days. The animations of the arcs, how they adapt to environments and react to being shot, are based on similar principles to black and white's creature AI. Embark has attempted to create emergent behaviors in its enemies through reinforcement learning, enabling them to both move and react to terrain and player behavior in highly realistic ways. It's an interesting technology, and the effects it produces during matches are undeniably convincing. Yeah, and you know what's incredible is they had to do this. Like, this is work that they had to do. They didn't, like, press a button and say, make bots smart. Thank you, AI. Like, they had to run lots of tests to even get this to frickin' work. Has he watched any of the videos where they showed how they leveraged AI to make their arcs so incredibly smart? The same cannot be said about Embark's generated voice lines, which are aggressively mediocre and a stain on the experience. Oh, this is what he's taking issue with. While speaking characters are mostly limited to traders, through player characters also vocalize emotions. When you do speak with them, their voices are flat and emotionally blunted, aside from the occasional bizarre inflection that reveals their robotic roots. It's telling that the sole memorable character in Arc Raiders is a rooster incapable of speech. Embark claims it uses AI voices so the studio can implement ideas quicker, creating new voice lines in hours rather than having to go through the longer process of manual recording and therefore rehiring actors. But NPC voices are not central to the experience, so I don't think this is an argument holds water. Even if it did, Arc Raiders... Okay, well, here's the problem then. You just betrayed your own argument. If it's not central to the experience, then it doesn't need to be turned into a big issue or a central issue to criticism. If you try to make it a central issue to the criticism, this right here chops your entire argument to ribbons. If NPC voices are not central to the experience, then this is not a good enough reason to be like that critical. If it's not central. You're not playing through God of War and listening to AI voices. Even if it did, Arc Raiders launch has been so successful, Embark could probably hire a team of live in-voice actors and still make gargantuan amounts of profit. Well, they don't owe you or voice actors anything. If they decide that this is the most profitable way to run the company and allows them to create new content and new engagements at a faster pace than other live service games because of the roadmap, then no, they don't have to do this. There's no imperative on the company to hire anybody to do voice lines. They don't owe you a thing, while benefiting from more memorable characters as a result. At the same time, Embark's use of AI voices sufficient to compromise the game. Oh, is it sufficient enough to compromise the game, given they are only a small part of the experience? I mulled over this for a while, and the more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Because yes, using AI voices does compromise Arc Raiders, not just ethically, but artistically too. Okay, so the issue here then, if you're going to make an ethical argument, the impetus is on you to create an ethical and then therefore arguably I would say moral imperative, whether it's an ethical or moral imperative, that they ought to be hiring people, spending more money, and slowing down production time in order to use real voices, okay? They didn't fire people that were previously working for them so that they could use AI, okay? They didn't like wrongfully terminate somebody. They're not wrongfully using someone's likeness or voice without their permission, okay? So you, as the author of this article, I've not read the whole thing, I'm merely laying down the rules here. If you're going to claim that this is an ethical problem, you have to create the ethical imperative rather winsomely, I would argue, because that is a very strong charge to lay at the foot of a developer. If you're going to claim that they're doing something that is unethical, the imperative is on you to make a very, very strong case, because that is a very, very high charge to say, well, what you're doing is unethical. Let's see if this person has the ability to do that. I don't think that they do, because I don't think you can make a strong argument to say this. Let's start with the obvious point that Arc Raiders is set in a world where humanity has been driven underground by a race of hostile robots. The contradiction here between Arc Raiders' themes and the manner of its creation is so glaring that it makes me want to scream. Yes, scream all you want. You've not established an ethical imperative that they need to hire people to do the voices of their game. What you're doing now is you're building an argument on presumption. You're building an argument based on your presumption that there's an ethical imperative that they hire people, and you're then using that presumption to create a contradiction that only exists if your worldview is correct. So you've got to argue that your worldview is correct before presuming that it is. You made a game about the tragedy of humans being replaced by robots while replacing humans with robots. So now this is actually not true. Okay. This would be called dishonest because they've not replaced any humans with robots. They didn't fire anybody. If they had people that were on staff to do voices and then replace them with robots, you could make this statement. So this statement is false. Okay. So I'd like a retraction or an update here, because you are now claiming that a studio replaced people with robots with zero facts supporting your claim or charge. Therefore, you'd be guilty of libel. You've now accused the company of doing something they've not done without facts or evidence. This is egregious. You should not be writing things like this. This is wrong to write. If you're going to charge a company with unethical practice or replacing people with robots, then you should have facts to back it up. Believe me, I'm well versed in the field of making false claims about people without facts or evidence to back it up. It displays a total lack of awareness, pot, meat, kettle, or worse, willful ignorance of Arc Raiders' own semantics. Okay, so no effort has been made to establish ethical imperative on the company to hire people to do the voice work. No one has been replaced if from the ground up they decided that's not central to the experience, it's not going to be in the budget, we can just use AI voices for the minimal presence they have in the game. Okay? But what really bakes my noodle is that so much of what makes Arc Raiders compelling in the first place derives from human voices. The guy I mentioned at the outset, Mr. Looking for Lemons, it wasn't just that what he said stuck with me, it was the way he said it. Impressively cheerful and endearingly goofy with all the R's and L's drawn out. It was as distinctive and memorable as the way Matt Berry says New York City in What We Do in the Shadows. In fact, I tried to think of the actor I could compare it to, but failed. Because nobody else would have said it like that. Arc Raiders has facilitated millions of similar interactions since launch, but that only makes Embark's use of AI voices more abhorrent. Again, building on the presumption that it's wrong for them to use AI voices, you've not established that point at all with argumentation. You have merely presumed it. Also, what makes this game so good, those interactions, those millions of interactions, is they are human interactions. It's people interacting. That's what makes this game so enjoyable. The social experiment is literally what they're selling you. They're selling you tension. Like, they do not have to use, real people's voices for this. For Arc Raiders to ride the wave of human sociability all the way to the bank while also being so contemptuous of the thing that makes us social animals in its workflow, carving up human voices and reassembling them like digital Victor Frankenstein, demonstrates a lack of artistic integrity that I find impossible to ignore. Well, let's talk about integrity. Let's talk about integrity. You have now charged a company with unethical practice and replacing people with robots, and you have done zero due diligence to establish those facts. You've not argued it with facts. You've not proven it with facts. You have presumed it, which smacks of brazen arrogance and hubris to think that your view of the world is the view of the world, and that because they're not in line with it, they are now guilty of something that is abhorrent and lacking artistic integrity and is unethical. So if you want to talk about integrity, your article lacks any shred of it. There's nothing here that warrants these charges. You have not yet established your position is true. You've presumed it as true. This is one of the worst things I've ever written by a publication. This is terrible. However smartly designed Arc Raiders is, I cannot recommend it because Embark does not value the thing that makes it special. Well, you don't value truth, facts, or evidence, so why would we value what you have to say? You don't value the very tenets of what argumentation would require in this instance to make the claims and to make the charge that a company has done something unethical or lacking in artistic integrity. This article, actually blog, lacks the very tenets of basic communication and argumentation, and therefore doesn't have anything in it worth reading. This is a tantrum in the form of a blog. That's all it is. This is, I don't like AI, I'm going to write 1,000 words of a tantrum about it. There's nothing here worthy of respect. This is only worthy of criticism. There's nothing here that's worth a darn. Poorly written, poorly argued. And I honestly think that Eurogamers should publish a retraction for making false claims about the company. I think they should publish a retraction. This should not be published. This should have a clear disclaimer somewhere that this is only opinion and not factual. Like the irony of getting moralistic and ethical about AI while writing a hit piece that's propagating falsehood, I think that's what's abhorrent. I think that kind of writing is terrible. I don't care who wrote it. That should have a disclaimer on it that nothing in this is factual. This is pure opinion, because you're making claims about how they've built the game and how they've replaced people with robots, and those are not factual claims. They're not. You're presuming those things. The writer is capitalizing on the visceral reaction to AI buzzwords in the artistic process, trying to stoke the fire by completely ignoring the technical aspects of what they're talking about, and it's either ignorant or intentional. Voice synthesis is not the same as deepfake voices and has been around since literally Windows XP, Siri, Bixby, etc. They all use machine-learned voice synthesis. Machine learning for animating multi-legged entities is literally industry standard for not just gaming, but scientific research and dynamic animation systems. It's the most widely used method of making fluid, realistic, and dynamic locomotion rigs. Using that as an argument in this is the same as saying The Matrix or Lord of the Rings is bad because they used the agent crowd engine to mass animate people in the scene instead of hiring 50,000 actors. Well written, Parasito. AI-generated voice lines are replacing voice actors. It doesn't matter if they were fired or never hired. No, that's not true. No. Because if they were never planning on hiring them, they can't be replaced. That's philosophically bankrupt. If you were budgeting your game and you were never planning on hiring people to do voice work because it wasn't in the budget and it's not central to the game's identity, nobody was replaced because they were never going to be hired to begin with. If a studio right now is working on a game and they're like, it's not in our budget to hire voice actors, we're not going to do it. We're just going to use, this thing over here to do voices or whatever. Nobody has been replaced. Nobody was going to be hired to begin with. That is so philosophically bankrupt to presume that if not for AI, they would have hired people. I got news for you. Studios like this, do you want to know what they would have done? They would have just had somebody in-house read the dadgum lines because it's cheaper. Do we hire voice actors for these minimal voice lines that don't really matter that much? Or do we just have somebody in the studio, somebody that works in the studio, just read the lines? Like, nobody's been replaced. Games like this don't typically put a lot of effort into that because it's not central to the game. The people who recorded the samples for Arc knew what they were recording. It wasn't a rug pull or a replacement. They were hired for their job and they did it. Did a band lose a gig when Lono started using AI to make his music? Well, that's a little bit different because I'm not selling it. Like, they're selling a game that contains AI-generated work, and then the question would be, did they do it in an ethical or an like an ethical way or a moral or an immoral way? Like, did they steal? Like, did they make somebody sound like Morgan Freeman because they knew that would be a big selling point for their game? Well, Morgan Freeman has a right to his voice being used and his likeness being protected. So, like, that's where you can get into territory that I would think is wrong. You have a right to protect your likeness. You have a right to protect your voice and what you look and sound like. And nobody should be able to profit off of that. It doesn't seem that they've done that. They just use a very basic system to do very, very basic line delivery from NPCs. It's not central to the game's identity at all. If you would have walked in the room and been like, no, you have to hire people to do that, they'd be like, well, then we're not going to. We'll just have Steve, Susan and Bill read all the lines. We'll do it in a weekend. It'll take time. It'll be annoying, but we'll just do it on a weekend. There's no actors that got replaced here. They would have just done it in-house. If it's not in the budget, if it's not central to the identity of the game, then the developers are not going to spend money to do it. It just wouldn't happen. Or they just wouldn't have lines. They wouldn't say anything. You would just go to the NPC and he would just like turn and look at you, and then there'd be like maybe a little text pop up or something. Plenty of games do that. Their NPCs don't ever say anything. You should not be writing an article claiming that a company replaced people with AI when they didn't do it. You should never write something accusing a person or an organization of doing something unless there is concrete evidence that they've done it. You can't do that. Like, that's the problem with an article like that. It's like you're claiming the studio did something that they did not do. There should be a retraction on it right now. I miss Lono playing Magic Sword. Magic Sword whitelisted all their stuff on Twitch, but not on YouTube. So if you play it on Twitch, you don't get muted. But if you play it on YouTube, you get copyright claims from their record label. Yeah. Do I think it's a bummer that voice actors are going to get less work because studios are going to take that budget mindset, that budget spend conscious mindset to be like, well, we're not going to hire voice actors. Yes, that is a bummer. Believe me, AI has affected what I do. It 100% has. They implemented it into YouTube and the algo, and it broke a bunch of stuff. And there's AI slot videos all over these platforms, making it very, very difficult for the engines, the algos, the recommendation patterns are all struggling beneath the weight of that ocean of slop. There's an ocean of AI generated slop on every content platform there is now. Okay? It's affecting all of us, and it's a bummer, and you never want to see something like that happen where it's used in a way that's destructive rather than productive. But a company like Embark and Arc Raiders, they are not the devil in this situation. Like, what they did with these voices is nothing about what we've been looking at, seeing used, where they're like people's likenesses being encroached upon, or the legality that's being debated right now about whether or not AI can use learning systems that have combed over copyrighted material, right? Like, can they educate their libraries on copyrighted material? There's case law in California that's saying it's okay with books. So we'll see if that extends into music and film and everything else. I mean, it's a whole new frontier of potential legality of copyright infringement. As far as a studio deciding, we have a couple of NPCs that say things, and it's faster and cheaper. Like, let's just say they want to do a fun event. They want to capitalize on a moment, on a meme, or something. Maybe something's happening in the community, and they think it's funny, and they want to lean into it. They can have all the NPCs saying stuff that day. That day, they could push out some kind of a server-side hotfix where all of a sudden the NPCs are saying things that it's like an emergent property from the community. Like some crazy funny thing happened, and they have the NPCs leaning into it. That's something you can't do if you're like, well, we got to enter a contract, with Dave, Steve, Harry, Vanessa, and Jennifer. Yeah, we got to get them all into contract and get them into the studio to record these lines to have all the NPCs saying this thing. Which do you think they're going to do? For like living, breathing games, living, breathing worlds where the NPCs can, on a dime, suddenly be saying things in response to player behavior or like dynamic emergence within the culture of the game itself. Like by the end of the week, they can have a joke in the game or a reference in the game or an event in the game, and the NPCs are speaking about it because they're able to do this and not have to worry about, like, we got to get people in the studio and record lines. Destiny started dropping characters because they couldn't get the voice actors in the booth. Is that better? Yeah, it was just like, well, we can't. What are we gonna do? We can't book them. We can't get them. They're too busy. They're too expensive. Whatever. I tell you what, we don't need a gaming press writing sloppy, libelous hit pieces against developers, because that's the only way you're going to generate click rate, I guess, at this point. That's what we don't need. Like, you're worried about AI destroying things. I mean, what about dishonest reporting, which actively does harm? This entire argument is relying on the layman's lack of understanding of where the line is and modern AI versus what's not. The entire argument is relying, and sadly, some people don't know the difference, and they'll intentionally exploit where that line is. It's what I said. The problem with AI slop is slop. Have a Rocketeer flying around saying, "Are you friendly?" That would be diabolical. If they started making the Arc imitate us to try to get us. Wouldn't that be diabolical? You could go into a room and, like, you feel like you hear something on the other side of the door, and it's like, "Hey, we're friendly." And you're like, "Oh, it's friendly. It's some NPCs." And you open the door, and it's one of the Arc rollers. Boom. I mean, come on, boys. Come on. That would be diabolical. We had that convo. An Arc yelling friendly, friendly with a female voice would kill everyone. Stop, Mama. Add a mimic robot that repeats what you say. Yeah. Want some candy? Like out of the Predator movie? Want some candy? A couple more questions here on topic. This one's from Jaster. Do you think the game uses the questions that get asked at the end of the match to get you put into the correct player pool? It's very possible. Hang on. Captain Toasty Buns with 45 months. Welcome back. It's very possible that they're using those questions to create, player profiles so that they try to group you with other players. Like, it is interesting to me that I am seemingly matched with players similar to my profile. Now, some of that, again, could be because I'm going to the opening area. The opening area is just going to have a propensity of friendly solo players on free kits because that's where I've been hanging out. it'll be interesting to see if I get to like the higher level areas and find that, you know, that friendliness to still be intact. You know what I'm saying? So, question from Rygen. If Marathon is just a vertical slice of D2, couldn't they feasibly just flip the assets again to jumpstart D3? The problem is they built something that doesn't have any meat on the bones. It's a minimum viable product with very basic extraction mechanics. Like, there's nothing to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to it. Excuse me. So, they could fold it into a Destiny 3 as a mode like they did with the Division Heartland. The Division Heartland is likely going to be rolled into the Division 3 as a mode. But that's it. I'm convinced they'll add them later. Found a dead android in the spaceport. Oh, you're going to add in androids. I see what you're talking about, something different. Dam's the most hostile in your experience, especially solo? Yeah, I've had the opposite experience. DMG Incorporated, Damage Incorporated says, if Wolverine does well, do you think it'll spur those studios with other caped heroes that have been pushed or shelved to finally get released? I think your biggest problem is delays and what Disney wants. Disney wants a really good royalty share, and they probably want very, very high volume, and that's always going to make it difficult with the hero game. Always. It just is. So, Neo Reaper says, if you could choose any Sony-owned engine for Bungie to develop Destiny 3, which one would you select? I would think that Decima would be a very good choice, as long as they could get the gunplay and movement needs to feel excellent. Decima would be great because you could have the great combat systems. We know Decima can have good combat systems. We know it can do open world really, really well. We know it can do really big encounters really, really well. Both in Burning Shores and Death Stranding 2 have demonstrated you can do really big encounters, you know, raids, raid bosses, strike bosses. The question would ultimately come down to, could Decima mimic the gunplay and the movement? But Decima would be amazing for Destiny if it can nail those other aspects. The OA, do you think Sony's inevitable takeover will bring more goodwill towards Bungie, and what Sony could benefit from it aside from finance repercussions like dev talent and stuff? Yeah, I mean, I think the big question is, can they win back people's trust by gutting leadership? Leadership's the problem at the company. You know, didn't Killzone use Decima? I believe it did, Yelgler. I believe it did. So there's grounds to say that Decima can do gunplay. It's not, can it do gunplay? It's, can it do gunplay that feels as good? It's gunplay and movement. It's gunplay and movement. The two pillars of what make Destiny feel so good is gunplay and movement. Like, Destiny is not just good at the shooting. It feels good to move around in, to glide, to jump, to double jump, to dash. Like, it feels fantastic. When you go into a super and you're running around slamming the ground or throwing stuff, when you're sniping, when you're shooting a hand cannon, when you're jumping, it just has a really great feel. They brought some of that feel to Borderlands 4. Borderlands 4 feels really good to, like, you know, fight and zip around. It's reminiscent of, like, it reminds me of some of the Destiny 1 days with some of the world design and stuff. Keenan says, do you think GTA 6 will release in 2027? I mean, I don't know at this point what they're doing. I think somebody somewhere is going to step on as many gas pedals as they can. They're going to step on as many gas pedals as they can to make sure that they hit that date. I feel like they're going to hit that date. They're going to hit November. Last question in the queue. Did you see the Xboxer commercial? No, it looks like it's going over about as strong and as well as the first one. The new marketing campaign from Xbox is, it's something. It is something. It doesn't seem to be targeting gamers. I don't know what they're doing. I'll be honest with you. It feels, man, oh man, does it feel self-destructive. It just doesn't seem like a very good marketing campaign at all. Like, I don't know who's watching those commercials and being like, well, that's the brand I want to game with. It's corporate cringe. There's just something there's. I can't figure out what it is. It's like when someone. It's like the hello fellow kids thing, right? Like when someone tries to be funny, hip, or like in the know. I don't know. That's what it feels like to me. It feels super, super disconnected from reality. It just doesn't. It doesn't seem connected to like gamers. So I'm not really sure who it's supposed to appeal to. Like I think of like lifelong gamers who have been rocking with like Gears of War and Halo and Call of Duty, watching that commercial and being like, "Yeah, you get me. You speak to me and what I want." Starts at the timestamp. They talk about the AI till 2744. What is this? Is this an interview with them, wrote? So is it 10? It's 10 minutes dealing with the AI in Arc Raiders. I tell you what we need to do. It's coming from the top, and we all know they're not gamers, and it shows. It's pathetic. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Xbox fans be very critical of it. It's just their thoughts on Arc Raiders. Well, we're nearing the 3-hour mark of the broadcast. I'd actually kind of prefer to go to Green Room, but there's enough people here, and we got a cleaned out question queue. We could keep going if you guys would like, but I need a break. I absolutely need a break. So you're gonna have to give me like 5 minutes. I can't even be like, hey, let's try to extend and hit a goal, because I can't sit in the chair that long. I'm not gonna make it. So I'll be right back, and maybe we'll check out this clip. We'll see. We may just go to Green Room. We'll see how I feel. Okay, I'll be right back. Sorry. My kiddos are really excited. It's snowing out, and the house smells amazing. My wife made this soup, and I'm like, I don't really do soup, but this one that she makes is incredible. It's like this, like, I don't know, it's like rustic and chicken and rice and stuff. It's very good. Makes the whole house smell good. The whole your devices are now an Xbox thing. It just screams guy who constantly asks for hugs. Just forcing themselves into your personal space. That could be a video. The whole Arc Raiders and AI thing. Yeah, I'm also kind of formulating an opinion on the Elder Scrolls thing, because like Todd Howard's like, it's still a ways off. Okay, so the boys at Drop Frames talked about this for 10 minutes.
We'll bring it up in terms of the like AI discussion. It's kind of going how I expected it to. We had Amelia on the show, and not the main population doesn't really even know.
The thing about it is, it wasn't really an event at all because it already happened with the finals. Like they didn't do anything different from the finals. So for the community of gamers at large, there was nothing new with Arc Raiders. So and honestly, like that was one of the things that made me decide to play it, is because like it's actually like it's here. It's not that AI in games is coming. It's here. Like finals had AI voice work. It's already come and gone. There's other games coming out that already have it. There's major companies that have it coming out in some regard. So one of the things I like about this is that Embark seems to be doing it a little better. I mean, they use AI voice work, but they also use voice actors. All the voice work they have is based on the models that they use. They still use voice actors for like their main scenes, especially when people are talking to each other. So it's kind of like, I hate to say it, but like that could be the future we're moving to as a gaming community. Like that could be the future where most games are using like their own in-house voice actors for trained models so they can make games quicker and get it out faster. You know, for major scenes, they use the human voice actors. Everyone signs off on it and hopefully is compensated appropriately. And hopefully organizations like Nava are making sure that stuff is properly compensated. But
that's what it ultimately comes down to. It comes down to whether or not a studio has crunched the numbers and they've determined that it's a better way for them to make their game. Can they make it faster? Can they make it more, in a more cheap and more efficient way? See, the thing that people need to remember here is that some of these studios are not very large. Some of these studios don't have enormous budgets, and they don't have some big publisher behind them. So the demonization of the use of AI, I think people need to be very careful, because what you're going to do is you're going to create a standard, an imperative. You're going to create some moral compass on this issue where small studios that do not need to be raked over the coals here are going to be doing it almost out of necessity. And yes, the concern would be like big, huge publishers and studios are going to use it to cut corners. But yes, if the actors are agreeing to this, and especially if like what Ko is saying, if it's in-house, if you have people in-house, like if I worked for your company, I could totally train an AI model off of my voice and it could sound really good. Like I've been speaking on a mic professionally for 10 years. I've dabbled in voices and impersonation and stuff like that. Like I do voices for my kids when I read books to them. Like anybody with like any degree of vocal talent could help you do that. And then your company is able to do something it couldn't previously do. And again, you're not replacing anybody or taking a job away from somebody. These are studios that likely never would have hired big name actors to begin with, okay? As much as I love Ben Starr, and I think he probably always smells good and he's super handsome, you're not going to, every studio can't hire Ben Starr. Every studio can't hire Troy Baker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even more like mid-level, low-level voice acting talent is not going to be able to be hired at every single studio that's out there. Like, let's just go back a couple of years before AI, before the dawn of AI. Were voice actors getting hired left and right by small and medium-sized studios? No, they weren't. A lot of small to medium-sized studios don't have voices in them at all. And that's why, because it's expensive and it's time consuming. So there's not some like industry reality that has been damaged or disrupted here if medium to small size studios are deciding that they're going to utilize AI for voices. Yeah, or you end up with something like Biomutant where it's all gibberish talk because they don't want to take the time to do it. I sometimes think people don't understand like what goes into game development. Like there's so much that goes in, and voice acting alone, like it's so much time in the studio. It's so much time making sure the lines are recorded properly and said properly. And then all of those audio files have to be combed over and edited and processed and then put into the game. So how is Ben Starr and Troy Baker being in every game any better for voice actors? Well, obviously, when the big studios want to bring the big talent, they're going to snag the people that are going to help them market the game. Same as when you're going to get like movie actors and stuff to be in your game. Like that's just the natural course of things.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just, I think this is what it's going to look like. This is just kind of where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and even we were talking about the Square Enix stuff with QA.
Oh, no, guys. I'm sorry, not better voice acting, faster. The Embark devs did a whole thing about why they use AI. They did a whole interview on it. And one of the things they said is, when you're making a game like this, it is so much faster to be able to be like, okay, we need these 30 voice lines. And then they just go to their AI things. And then instead of having to bring someone into a studio, record the lines, check them and all that stuff, they have all those lines an hour later in the same voice that would have recorded them. Not better, but quicker. So that's kind of their argument, is they wanted voice acting everywhere in this game, where you can click on any item in your inventory, click on any place in the world map, and you get a voice line. And they were like, it's not feasible to do that when you're adding as items as much as you are, when you're putting locations in. Like they couldn't do it quickly enough to do it in a format, and that's why they used AI to help them do that.
This is, again, why you can't say they're replacing voice actors. You need to really listen to what Code just said, okay? This is a technological reality that would never exist with traditional voice acting. If you are on the fly, living, breathing, live service game, adding items, adding voice lines, adding events, adding new elements to the game, okay? In traditional voice acting, that would have never been a job for you because it wouldn't work. Do you see what I'm saying? The technological reality of this happening, it proves that. You would never have been able to do these sorts of things with traditional voice acting. Ergo, it's not a job that's being replaced. Now, yes, there are instances where it could be replacing someone's job if it's a more traditional setting. For games like this, though, there was never a time where a game company would have done this. They weren't like, hey, Lance Riddick, before he passed away, could you come in and do some quick lines for us right now for a Destiny event coming up? No, that stuff is contracted, booked, and recorded months, sometimes years in advance. And that's not something you can do with a living, breathing live service game like this. So that's not a job that has now been supplanted by AI. It's a new technological idea that prior to now would have never been possible. Like, that proves that in some instances you're not replacing anybody's job. You're doing something that never would have happened before to begin with.
So in stuff like that, where those same voice actors are also doing fully voice recorded lines, they're still like part of the team, they're still doing all the normal voice actor stuff, and then the company's doing that on top of it. That's where I start getting, that's where I personally start having trouble, because it's like, if the people who's the voice of signs off on it, and it's the difference between being able to get all that shit in or just not have it, because it wouldn't be feasible in another case, what do you do in a case like that? Just not have it?
Yeah.
Just don't do the voice acting at all? Or do you put it in with their blessing so it's there for us to use? I don't know if there's a right answer there. If it's
Man, Ko got hurt there.
Honestly, you know what I'd like to see?
Do it.
I was watching the footage. He got hurt. He was doing really well, and all of a sudden his health is gone.
Every time they push the button, like the button also pays the person that they modeled the AI
like a royalty.
Yeah, I mean that.
Yeah,
that would be.
Not?
In
nice.
A lot of ways, that would be more than what voice actors get in a traditional sense, right? Because they get paid for their time to record the lines. They don't get paid for how many people hear the line.
If you create a royalty contract, though, you know, every time the voice is showing up in the game, there would have to be something attached to that. like you'd have to monetize voice packs or something. Like if you want to download a cowboy voice pack so your character talks like a cowboy, you're like, you know, hey, man, I'm friendly, you know, whatever. You'd have to sell that and then have a royalty attached to the transaction. You can't just pay voice actors royalties in perpetuity every time something is used in a game like this. That would bankrupt a company in an instant, because like there's millions of people playing in a day, in a given week, you know, in some games, and those voice lines are cropping up hundreds of thousands of times every hour. Like that's not feasible. Even if you're paying them pennies on the interaction, it doesn't matter. A royalty level contract could certainly be negotiated, but it would have to be attached to some type of a monetary value so that you could argue that person gets a cut of whatever it is you're quote unquote selling, like a voice pack.
Right. And that's kind of what you're getting at, right, Zeke? Where every time someone hears bombs here, they get 2 cents.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Amelia was saying, she is arguably one of the top voice actors in gaming, like right now. She's in major titles with thousands of lines in some cases, and she's talking about having to go to cons in that industry to get paid to the degree where she's, you know, comfortable with it. So it's like that industry sucked before AI, and now AI's here. So it's like now a lot of the people that would have been paying for those roles are just not going to. So it seems like there's an opportunity for a better industry to hopefully come out of this, so the people that are still doing it can get supported properly. It's almost like they weren't really before. But I talked a lot with the guy that runs Nava. We talked back and forth.
What is Nava? Like, can you explain that?
So Nava is the National Association of Voice Actors.
Oh, okay.
And yes, and I did a donation to them. Hopefully just try to help figure some of this shit out. It doesn't mean much, obviously, but you know, because tidal wave's coming in, if you like it or not. But like I talked to him, I was like, what are you guys doing about this? Like, you know what's coming. I told him, like, I'm wrestling with streaming these games with AI in them. Like, what do you guys feel about this? What are you guys doing about it? And he was just very real. He's like, we're all trying to maneuver the space as fast as we can. It's changing all the time. Like, you know, we all just kind of do what we can do to try to make it work the best.
Why is Ko's health not draining? Is it lagging or something? Like his health bar has been stuck at that length. I thought it just bottomed out eventually.
For what we were all doing, and it's a weird time, man. I don't think people realize how crazy the next couple of years are going to be with all this stuff. It's coming like a tidal wave.
Oh yeah. So I mean, in so many ways, you said it earlier.
It's already
like here. It's here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah, it's in the next wave of games, / games right now. Yeah.
You think he has a skill that does that? His gear does that. He has an augment pack that he can regain down health when not moving. Oh yeah, it was going back up.
I guess we'll see. Like there definitely was. I think at least amongst my community, I have not partaken in too many of the Arc Raider streams of yourself. Let alone the fact that with
stop moving, Ko. You're gonna die.
Conversation's hard to have.
Yeah,
it's a little spammy, but yeah, like it's anytime I stream it, it definitely overrides the chat and becomes like the huge focal point. Which if anything, I'm glad that at least the conversation exists rather than no conversation at all. In terms of being able to like service that as a creator, and let that go as long as people don't result to personal attacks.
There's two sides of the argument, and I think that the problem is a lot of us fall in the middle.
Yeah.
And the two sides of the argument is AI is here, deal with it. The other side of the argument is no, fight it tooth and nail, swear it all off, boycott it. And it's like, I think a lot of us fall in the middle where it's like, yeah, we all realize AI is coming. We all realize this stuff is going to come. There's nothing anyone can do to prevent it. So what's more important is that we make sure what springs forth of the corpses of these previous industries is still awesome for the people that do this stuff. That's what's the most important. I want to see the Ben Stars and the Amelia Tylers still have a viable, awesome job position. Maybe we can make it better than it was before, because honestly, it sounded like it kind of sucked in a lot of ways. So like maybe there's a better thing that can come from this.
I think that's one of the best points Ko has made, is it sounds like the voice acting industry in general in games has been kind of crap for a while. And then obviously the concern would be, well, it was starting to get better, or we were starting to win some ground, and now this is going to make it even worse. You know, I think one of the biggest dilemmas you're going to run into as well is that, like, if voice actors and those that are, like, negotiating for them, you know, the union or whatever, like, if they're making it really, really tough and really, really frustrating to quote unquote like work with the voice actors, well, then you're going to drive people to just not do it. Like, if you make it more frustrating, more challenging, more expensive, more whatever, if you're going to make me jump through all these hoops and, you know, very, very restrictive binding contracts and, you know, demanding royalties and all this, you're going to make, you're basically going to negotiate yourself out of a job. That's what's going to happen. Like, that's the bigger dilemma here, is not only is AI going to make it cheaper and more affordable and easier, but you could overreact to this and essentially over-negotiate and make yourself really, really unhireable. You know, the vast majority of the industry is going to say, it's just not worth it. It's either too expensive, too stringent, too frustrating. Negotiations bog everything down, slow everything down. Like, you know, you're going to have to be extremely flexible, or you're going to negotiate yourself into a position of being like, yeah, we don't really want to work with voice actors anymore. It's too much trouble to be, you know, to be worth it. Now, obviously, in certain games, it's definitely going to be worth it, like a Naughty Dog game where the story and the actors are absolutely pivotal to the game being a success. But for games like Arc Raiders, yeah, probably not.
It's like, what is it? There's a new game coming out now, or maybe it's a movie, where one of the things it does is it's like a big badge where it's like all human cast. It's like, great, maybe we can come up like something with that for games. And it's like, maybe if a game has that badge, then a portion of its dividends go to the voice acting team, which is better than what it was before. So like, maybe there's room for something new here with all this that could be better than how it was. Still get us human voice acted stuff, which is I think what we all prefer anyway. And, you know, the big companies are going to do it. The big companies are going to do what they do anyway. So, but I don't know, man, like, just closing your ears and closing your eyes and saying AI sucks and boycott everything. Like, again, you don't understand what's going to happen in 2 years. Like, it's going to be everywhere, in everything, in some degree. And that's not a valid, nothing's going to come from that at all. Like, no one's going to make anything better by doing that.
Yeah.
Before Zeke talks, I agree with Ko. Like, you can't just be like, it's bad, it's toxic, don't use it. Like the article we read from Eurogamer is just so egregiously written because it just presumes the ethical imperative that, like, you shouldn't do this. And it's like, well, you've not made that case. You're just presuming it. Like, you're doing like almost like a moral grandstanding thing. And it's like, I just don't think that's very compelling, you know. And I also don't think that that's going to solve anything. Again, you're just going to make it worse. You're just going to drive companies to not even want to work with people if that's how it's talked about.
I hate to say it. I wish I could, but
moving forward, it's going to be like trying to be vegan. You know, it's like, does that have like AI product in it? Because I can't have that. It messes with my stomach. So can you make sure there's no AI on that? If it has to, can you put it on the side? You know, I mean, it's good. Like, if you really want to be a hardline about it, you have to fucking be like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Zeke's kind of right. Sorry about the language. I didn't pre-watch this. Anytime I react to something, you guys know that like Safe for Work probably goes out the door, especially if Zeke's talking. I really enjoyed working with him in 2019 at E3. He's a super nice guy. But yeah, Zeke's right. I mean, if you're going to try to if you're going to do a purity check on every game that you play and you don't want AI in there, yep, that's what it's going to be like. You're like, well, yeah, does it have AI? I don't want to play it if it has AI. Well, good luck. You're going to have a really, really hard time finding games to play in the future because they're going to use it minimally or maximally. Like, they're going to use it in very different ways. It's going to be used in a lot of games going forward.
The crazy part is, you're not going to be able to tell. I'm sure vegans still get meat products all the time on accident. You can be told until you're blue in the face if something is or is not AI. You're never going to know for sure. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. they're closing their ears going, yeah, I'm just never going to play a game with AI in it. You probably already have multiple
Bad
times.
news. I got bad
Yeah,
news.
like you don't want to have any AI art, and if you bought any indie game off Steam, you probably have seen some AI in it. There's probably major companies using AI and have been for years and are just not owning up to it. And we're gonna get major drops where it's like, oh yeah, all that music you heard in our game, that was all AI. So I mean, it's this shit is it's gonna be a lot tougher to avoid this stuff than I think people realize.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I think he's exactly right. And I think that's a good enough. If you guys want to watch the original clip there, I'll provide you guys with a link. Because that's right. That's from the Drop Frames podcast. It's on It's Me JP's. It's on his channel. I'll put a link in the chat for you guys if you guys want to watch it. I didn't plan on reacting to that, but yeah, always support the original content. Always support the original creators, because that's a 3-hour long broadcast, and we watched 15 minutes, 10 minutes of it. So if you guys like that kind of reaction content, we do it kind of on the fly here and there. Sometimes it's planned, sometimes it's not. So a couple of questions have been added to the question queue. If Sony ends development on D2, do you think they would consider porting MLB The Show or Gran Turismo to PC to fill that live service void? Well, that's not really an answer. You're asking a question that honestly, logically doesn't make any sense to me. Like, D2 has nothing to do with Gran Turismo or MLB The Show ending up on PC. If those end up on PC, it would be a question of market alignment. Like, do they have good market alignment with those products on PC? Are they going to give you, I'm sorry, not going to give you. Are they going to get a good return on that investment? Now, Shuhei Yoshida argued that like porting games to other platforms is like printing money because you've already spent the bulk of the production costs, and porting it is so minimal in the grand scheme of things. So, I would say those things are not really related. Yote for another week maintained 12th position in the top 15 games on PlayStation. What a flop. There's rumors from job listings that MLB The Show is coming to PC. Yeah, if it comes to PC, it won't have anything to do with Destiny. It'll come to PC because they saw good market alignment and a good opportunity to make money. I don't think it'll have anything to do with the future of Destiny 2 has no bearing on Sony's live service game efforts. Why are those two games not on PC since they're live service? I don't know the answer to that, Mediocre Milton. I don't think it has any relationship with Destiny, though. Those decisions were likely made and in contract well before anything. You got to remember, Bungie was purchased by PlayStation after Destiny was up and running as a game, okay? Any of their negotiations, plans, or future forecasts for MLB The Show or Gran Turismo have nothing to do with Destiny. Like, I don't think they're internally being like, well, if Destiny goes belly up, we're going to have to start putting some games on PC like Gran Turismo and MLB The Show. If those games end up on PC, it's because they see market demand for them and they can get return on the port. They can get return of investment. There was a rumor that the Gran Turismo 7 port to PC was canceled. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe they determined that, it wasn't worth it. Weapon with the question says, let's say Destiny 2 is saved to the point where you can start fresh. Do you do it? Is Destiny 2 worth getting into if they can somehow save it from where it is now? And can I join you? I mean, I'm not able to play. I was unjustly banned in February 2021, and they've never explained it to me. So, and I don't expect them to ever, own what they did and the wrongs that they've done. They're just not that kind of company. I think it's beyond saving. I don't think there's a way back for Destiny 2. The way for Destiny 2, like the way forward, is to drive out into the sunset, put the game on cruise control, and start working on something else. Like, that's Destiny 2's future. Every bit of bandwidth and time and money spent on that game is likely at some level wasted, because it could be spent on something more profitable. Wolf Saint says, do you think if they do Destiny 3 that it'll be free to play, and since the ban was a Steam ban, couldn't you play another platform if you wanted? Well, because of cross-platform, cross save or whatever, no, my account is all tied up. If I try to disable cross play, it won't work. It'll say there's an error, and then it'll say that I've been banned for 500 years or whatever. Former writer, scripter, senior game designer, and lead gameplay designer at Warhorse for Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 has joined CD Projekt Red for The Witcher 4 as a senior quest designer. He'll fit in with CD Projekt Red. We were told Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was a success, so why is the senior game designer jumping ship? Guess make Henry Gay wasn't the master stroke Warhorse thought it was. Wait, so these guys are still trying to claim that Kingdom Come Deliverance didn't do well because you could choose to romance a guy? That's been around in like every... Did they say the same thing about Baldur's Gate? Like, RPGs have allowed you to romance... Like, they've allowed you to do same-sex romance for a very long time. Like, do they think Mass Effect is woke? So Mass Effect woke, Baldur's Gate 3 is woke. Like, every major RPG in, like, the last 15 years is woke, I guess. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was a roaring success. It's slated for probably a Game of the Year nomination as well as others. It was highly reviewed and highly praised by the users for being a triumph of freedom and RPG design. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like that entire funnel of content is so desperate right now. They are falling apart. So many of them are getting exposed. Like, old clips are surfacing of, like, the one guy was, like, defending The Last of Us Part 2. Like, of all games to be seen defending before becoming, like, an anti-woke grifter, like, of all of the games to be seen defending, The Last of Us Part 2? Like, I don't know, man. It looks a certain kind of way, like maybe what we've all been saying is true, that you're all just liars and you make stuff up and you switch to a content funnel that gets better views and you don't believe any of the things that you're saying. I think they're absolutely reeling. I think all their predictions this year about games has blown up in their faces. GOTY is doing very well. Kingdom Come Deliverance did very well. And you guys, what's funny is the last time we talked about this, people were like, no, they didn't. I didn't see anybody claiming Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was woke. Yeah, there you go. Brand new, fresh tweets from people on that side acting like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a problem because you can romance a dude. These folks are lost, boys. They are absolutely lost. I don't know what to tell you, but let's try to get to 300 likes before we end the day. Yeah, somebody leaving a studio as well after the completion and sale of a very competent and successful game is very normal. It's very normal. You can't even romance in GOTY? No. Wait until they find out that gay people are real. Yeah, they're in for a real shocker, Zubair. They're in for a real shocker. What are they gonna do? Oh, man. They could be doing Kingdom Come Deliverance 3 and they don't want to work on it. In between big projects, it's actually very normal for people like that to shift around. That's not alarmist or problematic at all. It's very normal. Does Creature know about this? Oh, and Arc Raiders? I sure hope not. I sure hope not. I tell you what we're going to do. I think we're pretty much out of gas. I don't have anything else to cover, react to. We did, close to 30 questions in Q&A today. We did an impromptu reaction to a frames per second clip. So I think it's time to go to Green Room. We do Green Room in the Discord now, which means you need to use the Discord command. You need to be a member or a sub on Purple, and then sync your account so you can come with us. We no longer do members content on this channel for very long. We did like morning coffee this morning, and then like for an hour later, it's basically unlisted because it's very harmful to the channel. So it seems like our approach has made things turn in a good way. The turnout today and the treatment was good. Our upload yesterday was doing good. Like that is a sign of like, okay, we're making the right choice. Like the members content was sadly kind of hurting us. If that gets fixed in the future, you know, then we won't have to do some of these hoop jumps, but we'll still do the content. We'll still do the morning coffee. We'll still do the green room. So, don't you know, medieval people definitely didn't, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did you show the Canada thing? Oh, no, I could show that right now. Here, let me show that to you guys. Hang on one second. Does somebody have the link? Hang on a second. All right, copy link. I just need to put it in the Discord so I can click on the link. They have an ad playing. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so I was interviewed by CHCH, which was a Canadian news outlet about the GTA 6 delay, and they've got 2 non-skippable ads running before the video on their website. Sorry, we're gonna sit here and wait. All right, here we go. Pause my music.
Controller down and touch some grass, gamers. Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed again. The disappointing news came from its developer Rockstar just yesterday, and it has left millions frustrated, upset, and downright heartbroken. Roger Collins joins us now with all the details. Roger.
Manisa, fans of this game have been waiting for what feels like forever. Originally scheduled for a fall 2025 release, it was first delayed until May of 2026. And with yesterday's announcement, another 6 months has been tacked on to the release of what many speculate may just be the biggest game of the century.
Galliant. Yeah, I replied to your comment because we made a concerted effort like 6 months ago to talk more about games than platforms. Obviously, I have to talk about Xbox and PlayStation here and there with the marketing and the changes at the companies. But like, yeah, the reason I got a little defensive is like, man, oh man, I've been busting my butt to not fall into that and to get away from that. And it's a bummer that like, the way the algorithm works as well, it'll only feed people divisive topics. It won't feed them positive stuff. Like we've done positive streams, positive videos, positive uploads, and they don't get near the engagement because that's just the way YouTube works, unfortunately.
Lucia, do you know why you're here? Bad luck, I guess.
Bad luck indeed. When Rockstar Games first released the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6 back in December of 2023, the internet went bananas. Today, that same trailer has 268 million views. So what kind of goes without saying, the hype is unreal. But on Thursday, tragedy struck again.
Here we go again.
When Rockstar put out this memo indicating the game won't be released until next year, writing that they are, quote, sorry for adding additional time to what we realize has been a long wait, but these extra months will allow us to finish the game with the level of polish you have come to expect and deserve.
Galliant says, it's just been a while since I checked in, all my fault. That's not your fault. If you weren't digging the content and you stopped watching, that's what you're supposed to do. I just wanted to let folks know that like we made a concerted effort to move away from that because we definitely got trapped in that cycle because it was all anybody wanted to talk about.
And the internet is crashing out.
I'm gonna be 50 when this come out, bro. I'm gonna have kids. I'm gonna have a wife. I'm gonna be married.
I think it's okay to be frustrated. I think it's okay to express that frustration as long as you're doing it in a healthy way.
Not coming out.
The frustration is easily understood. GTA 6 is slated to be one of the biggest titles in the franchise yet, taking players back to their roots in Vice City, featuring next-gen graphics, advanced AI, and a highly detailed open world, promising to deliver something that other video game developers never may. But still, this isn't the first time it's been delayed.
They pick the date and then they miss the date, and because GTA 6 is so big, it like disrupts the calendar. So like other companies, other games are going to have to shift around and move. You know, they had committed to the fall of 2025. The CEO said they were confident in that date to the shareholders, and I thought, okay, we're good.
Speaking of shareholders, Take-Two Interactive, the parent company of Rockstar, saw a massive hit to its stock shortly after the news broke, despite all the success it has seen from other titles like Borderlands 4, NBA 2K26, Mafia: The Old Country, and more.
I'm not frustrated when a game gets delayed. Take your time, do a good job. But this game is unique. It's going to be very sort of tectonic and eclipsing in the calendar. And so now it's like, well, all these people probably scrambled to avoid May. Now they're going to try to scramble to avoid November. So for that element of it, I think it's frustrating. There was somebody who I think seemingly had contacts and had been talking to people at the company, and he was saying it's a content complete game. They're trying to optimize it as much as they can because it's so huge. That's the main focus. That's the main worry.
But speculation continues to circulate online. According to the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain, Rockstar unexpectedly hit its workers in the UK with a round of bad faith layoffs. They claim 30 of its staff were fired for discussing union-related activity, claims that Rockstar North has refuted. But insiders say the delay is just a delay.
Those layoffs have nothing to do with this. He said this delay was already sort of being talked about. He was hearing whispers about it already, and there were other people that had heard things as well that have reliable sources. And so the general word on the street was this game could slip again. It's just too big, and that I think is the primary cause. Is it's just such a large game. So that wasn't a clip. I actually the guy interviewed me. So he asked me a handful of questions. I answered them, and then he used pieces of the interview in that sort of montage setup that they did. So there was other stuff I said that didn't make it. Like he asked me about iShowSpeed's reaction, and I said, "Oh, I love Speed. I love what he does for streaming. He's a really good guy." And then they made. And then they make it look like I'm like, yeah, you should, as long as you're having whatever I said, like you're not overreacting or whatever. And he's like, what about that? He's like yelling. I was like, okay. I was like, I paid the man a compliment. They asked me about him, and I paid him a compliment. That didn't make it into the cut. It's comedic. I don't think Speed would be. He wouldn't take any harm. So. That was fun. Anyways, there you go. We're going to head to the green room in the Discord. Hit the like button on your way out. Guys, thanks for an insane start to the week. I will I'm going to gift you guys tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to I owe each platform a member because I don't know who hit the milestones. I wasn't paying attention because you guys went so crazy. Thank you so much for the insane support. And yeah, I will see you in the Discord for the green room. We'll plan out tomorrow's shows, maybe an upload tonight. We'll see. Thanks so much for all the support. If you guys have not watched the video about Destiny and dying with dignity, if you have not watched that yet, I'll provide you with a link in the chat right now. It's time to, if you guys haven't had a chance to watch that, I'll put a link in chat. Give it a watch, give it a like, give it a comment. It's only a 5-minute video, okay? You can give it a little bit of a bump here. Anytime I go live, I kind of step on our upload and it starts to slow down. So you guys can give it a bit of a bump at the end of the day here if you can't come to Green Room in the Discord. All right? So take care. See you in the Green Room, or I'll see you tomorrow.